welcome to Late Night with the Pop Shock podcast. Yes, did you like that?
Well, I like that. See the groping of the mic.
This is episode 20 of the Pop Shock podcast. I'm Dan and I'm joined by Chris, and
Lovely.
we are recording at 9 o'clock on a Monday night. It's a late
brutal.
night episode with your boys. Things might get freaky.
Exactly. Well, we never know. We might fall asleep. It might be.
Or that. Probably more likely that, to be honest. I mean, I've got a cider here, but that usually just makes me sleepy. Point is, though, we did try to record an episode last week. If you're wondering, for the two people out there that are wondering,
where are we? Yes.
The two people out there that were wondering, where's Pop Shot gone? We were.
Usually that's the...
Yeah, basically me and you, and we know what happened, kinda. To some extent. So me and Chris did record an episode last week. We spoke about D23 and the Ubisoft announcement thing, and for some reason Chris's mic only recorded for 40 minutes and then died. So it would have either been a 40-minute episode which would have ended pure abruptly, or it would have been Chrissy talking for 40 minutes with me and then me just talk to myself for like another 40 minutes. So I was like, do you know what? Let's just no bother uploading that one. So this is episode 20.2 technically, but this is episode 20. And there's stuff to talk about this week because big news, kinda not really news, but big leak. GTA 6 is out there. The first footage, images and videos and all sorts, and quite a few like kind of actual story details, but we'll get into it all as we go. So yes, we're not really doing a topic this week. That's going to be the topic. It's just the GTA discussion, what we think of the leaks, what we think, if we think it might represent the final game, and if we're looking forward to it and all the rest of it. But first we'll start off at the top of the show as usual with news. Because talking about it's a brief news week, but I think that's a good thing. Because one, it's late, and two, really everybody listening just wants to hear us talk about the GTA stuff since that's the GTA stuff. We'll get there. But no, the first thing is quite big news. Keanu Reeves is returning for a Constantine sequel. Chris, as a DC fan and as a Keanu fan, how do you feel about this?
I am ecstatic. I hope it is something that's not connected to anything and it's just its own little standalone movie. And if he comes in with a John Wick get up, like he's done in the Matrix, I would not give a shit. Like when he's got the beard and the long hair, he's not cutting it. I wouldn't care. It's Keanu. Fucking love him. He could pop into anything. Like that's him in Cyberpunk with the same look.
Yep.
Him in Matrix with the same look.
And we all bought Cyberpunk and we all went to see Matrix, so it's working. Whatever he's doing, it's working.
Yes, he's a great marketer, I tell you.
He is. He sells movies and games 100%.
No, but I really loved the first Constantine film. I don't know if is it going to be a proper sequel or is it a reboot?
I reckon this is a sequel to that movie because that movie, as much as I do quite like it, is nothing like the source material. Like Constantine in the comics is nothing like Keanu. Obviously he's a traditionally blonde Cockney
Englishman.
Wears a trench coat. Like he's not a dark-haired American in a suit. Like, and I didn't think did Keanu smoke in the movie? Like Constantine's famous for constantly smoking. Did he? Right. Okay.
He
So
did a wee bit.
At least they got the smoking thing. But
I remember that the movie did get trashed by proper fans, though, didn't it? When it came out,
it did at the time
because it didn't have the unique look.
When that movie came out, I knew nothing about the character really, so I didn't care. It was just not a superhero movie to me, and I liked it. In hindsight, I think as someone that probably with the bias of not knowing what it was at the time, I like both. Having read the comics since then, I like both the comic version and Keanu's version. I just think it was two separate things. Do you know what I mean? It's like how, I don't know, it's like everything, you can have your two separate, you've got Zack Snyder's DC and then you've got Tim Burton's DC. Like it's fine to have two separate things. But yeah, I'm excited to see Enemy Keanu is, a sell for me. And yeah, I liked that movie. As you said, Chris, it's kind of for that era where like nothing was connected, everything was just a one-off independent film. So I think this sequel, I don't think it will tie into any DCU shit that's going on. I think it will just purely be a sequel to that first movie. Which
Do you think the main actors will return? I know, like Tilda Swinton and Peter Stormare.
just Peter Stormare. Did he?
Stormare, oh fuck yeah,
Peter
he
Stormare was the
Lucifer.
devil, right? What happened
He
to him
was
at the end? I
Lucifer.
can't actually remember.
He,
Did
I
he get
think
banished back to hell or whatever?
he went back to hell because
I need to rewatch it, man. It's been years.
I mean, I might get this wrong, but like he does something. He Constantine sacrifices himself, and that deed gets him into heaven. But then he does like the fit, like he gives Lucifer like the middle finger, and I don't know if that shuts him down.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know if, but I remember Lucifer looking up and he's like raging because he's lost the soul that he wanted.
Aye. Do you know when this news got announced? I was like, I'm going to watch the first Constantine, but then I was like, nah, I'm going to wait until closer to this coming out, and then I'll watch it. Do you know what I mean? I'll wait until this is like almost out.
I mean, I think it was a solid movie. It's like, you know, it's cheesy as it goes. You know what? Sometimes Keanu has some really cheesy acting.
Yeah,
if
100%.
It's not written for something.
Yeah.
So you're better prepared for that. But it's like an early 2000s film, so you get what you get. But I'm really excited that they're giving that a chance.
It was along the same lines as Blade for me. I kind of like put it with Wesley Snipes as Blade. It's that sort of like era of superhero.
Chop and cheese.
Yeah, I liked it at the time.
No, I'm surprised. Why do you think they're actually bringing this back?
Because
do you think they're doing that because of Keanu? Is that what it is?
100%. I think the internet have been obsessing over Keanu for ages at this point. And I think that now studios like the Matrix guys and like anything that Keanu's been in, to be honest, people are like, right, how do we get him back and cash in on the popularity? I didn't think that was a conversation, and I think they went, do you know what, let's do a Constantine sequel, because that movie, most people have forgotten about it, but it's got Keanu, so if we make a sequel, people will see it. Even if people haven't seen the first one, they'll probably watch this, like, it's Keanu.
Plus, it does. I mean, it will come out of DC, so it'll be one of their most popular films of this year, of next year, or whenever they're going to release.
Aye,
they've not been having a good trek.
Aye, I mean, at the very least, Constantine in the comics, I think it was Vertigo, but Vertigo was an imprint of DC, and then so I'm pretty sure it will be a Warner Brothers film. But to be fair, that's all kind of up in the air at the minute. Like maybe somebody will buy Warner Brothers, or maybe something will happen, but we'll need to see about that.
Do you know that's the most topic that we've always talked about? That everybody's buying fucking everybody now. It's scary. Like that's like just a regular maybe 3 month situation.
I genuinely believe, right? I might sound like my conspiracy theorist, but I genuinely think seeing like 10 years time, I think there'll be like 3 or 4 companies that own everything. It'll be like Disney, Apple, Amazon, and somebody else will just own every other company. Like I think that's how it's going. That's the way
I was shocked. I found out like as this has got nothing really, but it's just
Microsoft.
Like
that'll be the other one.
See,
it'll be Microsoft,
like Volkswagen. They own like
they own BMW and stuff, don't they?
Aye, they own like 5 major big
and they own Mini. They own Mini, BMW, Porsche. I think they own Porsche as well.
I think Land Rover maybe. I don't
know.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
Because it's in my mind, I'm like, oh, they're like good, and I'm like, all right, they are just umbrella of Volkswagen.
Totally, man.
That's what it will be. It will be like all facade of like the 4 companies own Apple, Amazon, Disney, and I don't know,
Microsoft.
And then everything else is all an umbrella, and like, we're all in the simulation of.
Somebody will buy Netflix, somebody will buy PlayStation, somebody will buy DC, and then it will just be that's basically all the big like independent ones at the minute that will just
But the problem is, being rich doesn't pull off a good show, as Amazon has proved from 100%. Fucking Lord
that's true. That's true. Have you watched that?
Oh, I've not watched the most recent one. The last one just
Right. Well, we'll get to what you're watching. I'm actually curious to hear your thoughts on it. So the next thing, speaking about Amazon, though, this is something I'm interested in. Amazon have officially announced that they're doing a Blade Runner live-action series based on 2099. It was not 2049. So the movie was 2049. So I take it as the show 2099. Is that like 50 years after?
So it'll be a sequel to this Blade Runner, which is 2049 I thought was a really beautiful movie. So I'm happy.
I love Blade Runner 2049. Yeah,
I'm happy there. I mean, what's your thoughts on the first Blade Runner? A lot of people didn't like the first Blade Runner, but loved the second one.
So for me, Blade Runner is that type of movie that I feel like what it established for the genre is more important than how good the film is itself. Like so much has taken from the Blade Runner aesthetic and the kind of feel of Blade Runner rather than actual what goes on in the movie. That movie for me, like in my mind, I kind of thought it like the same as Star Wars. Like it was a kind of old kind of sci-fi action movie with Harrison Ford. And like I just kind of thought it. Like I hadn't watched it for years, right? I'd watched it when I was wee. Same time I watched like Star Wars and Indiana Jones and all that kind of thing, right? So I just kind of like in my mind, I just put it in with them. And then years went by, right? I'm talking like decades, and then the new one was coming out. 2049 was coming out, and I was like, right, I've not watched it since I was a child. I better watch it before I see the new one. And see when I put it on, man, it was one of the most boring things I've ever sat through. I was like, oh my God, nothing happens in this movie. Like nothing happens. It's just Harrison Ford and Sean Young staring at each other for like 2 hours. I'm like, why is I like the bit with Rutger at the end in the rain when he's giving the speech.
Oh, the Rutger, yeah,
that's a great scene, but oh my God, it's a long, boring film.
It's a long film. Yeah.
The sequel, I mean, don't get me wrong, the sequel's a long film as well, but the sequel did things I think that kind of stuff happened in the sequel. Like there was an actual plot, and it was quite exciting, and there was intrigue and stuff.
I think the good that you kind of touched on it, like that set the foundation for it. I think if that wasn't there, you would need to build that whole narrative of why this world exists. When it was a sequel, you just jump right in. Like you're in a kind of weird fantasy world. There's stuff established. You can go on the ride. I think, and they were. I don't know if they had the unicorn scene in the. I know like Harrison Ford always used to have unicorns.
So the unicorn was only in certain cuts, right? It was only in the director's cut, is that right? So it was in. I don't think that was in the theatrical cut, but it was in the director's cut or some shit like that.
Because I remember Ridley Scott
there's like 9 different versions of
there's like 1,000. Like Ridley Scott was like wanting to get this. It's always Ridley Scott films that, if it was a fucking like director's cut, it's beautiful. But like, if it's a theater's cut, like The Kingdom of Heaven. That was fantastic, even though it was
I've not
4
seen
hours long.
Oh,
it's beautiful. Oh, please watch it.
Like, that's one with Orlando Bloom, right?
Aye. It's so good. It's like just like a massive epic, especially if you like Templars and Knights and stuff like that.
Did you just say the director's cut's 4 hours?
I think it's quite long.
Wow.
Like it's maybe 3 hours or 3.5.
So that was the version that Ridley Scott wanted to make, and basically the studio made them cut it down.
He's cut it down like an hour and a half.
And
it's like like. You miss all the wee things and all the details. People just die randomly, and you're like, what the fuck?
Do you know who the character is? Right, okay.
But like, it's always Ridley Scott films that always get blasted. He must be shite at editing. Like, he must be.
Just do a TV show, mate, or do a sequel. Well, he done that TV show recently, with that one with was it Raised by Wolves? The one with the androids. I've not watched that yet, but I know
I've not watched it either. But I was meaning to watch it because
I know, me too. It's been on my list for like a year.
It's like even though he made the Prometheus films, I mean, I don't know about you, they're not great.
No, garbage.
Right.
Trash.
Yes. I was hovering
shit on everything the Alien franchise stood for once, but yeah. There's only 2 Alien films, right? That's it.
Oh yeah.
They made 2, then they stopped. Same with Terminator. 2 films, and there. The end.
James Cameron, slow down, man. You're good at sequels. Don't know too much. Simmer down, boy. But like it's
mate, it's fine. He's doing about 10 Avatar films. Don't worry about it.
Oh, I know. I know. I looked up. I was always at IMDb. Avatar 1, Avatar 2, Avatar 3, Avatar 4.
Mental.
I was like, what are you doing? He's probably thought like, oh, this is $1 billion movie. And then the sequels are they're going to be $2 billion, and then I bet you money they're going to end at like 500 million, and it's not going to get anywhere. And then his career will fall, just as Ridley's sadly probably has.
I don't know. I mean, Ridley Scott. I kind of thought it for a lot of years. Ridley Scott, and then he made The Martian, and I was like, oh no, he can still make
Martian was good. Yeah,
like he can still make a good movie.
But I mean, hopefully, is he producing this? Or is he?
I've no idea if he's involved. I don't know if Denis Villeneuve's involved either. He also directed the sequel. I'm not sure if they're involved or not. I like Villeneuve to be involved at least, but yeah, I don't know.
The only bad thing I'm really worried about now is because it says Amazon.
That kind of brand because of the Lord of the Rings thing, is that
Yeah, that's scary to me because it's if they can really ruin a franchise, they'll ruin this as well. And it's the same kind of format. It's a TV fucking series, you know. It's
Mm-hmm.
I don't think like they would get. Is it Dennis? Is it Dennis? Is that his name?
It's
Dennis.
Denis because he's French, but it's
Denis.
Dennis. It's French
Dennis.
Dennis.
It's
Big
French
French Denny.
Dennis.
Aye, big
Denny in
French Denny,
French.
aye.
That's his new nickname with the Pop Shop podcast. French Denny. But I don't think he would come back to direct an episode, Jake. No. Like, is that kind of
Possibly.
fun
I think he
cameo?
can come back and direct an episode. I don't think he can come back to be like the showrunner or like anything like that. Like, that's too much a commitment because he's busy with June and shit. But
Aye.
I could talk to him come back to direct an episode. Aye, as like a guest director. I can
Jake,
totally see
cause it's all based on androids, right? Do you
that.
think Ryan Gosling could appear as like another, like a replicant?
Yeah.
Or
Oh
Jake,
yeah.
he's done.
I think he'll be in it again. At
Think,
least a
oh, do you?
cameo. Aye, 100%.
Jared Leto, hopefully not.
No,
He'll
hopefully
come in
not.
as
Jared Leto.
He'll come in as Morpheus or something. Morbius. Like, oh, I'm in the wrong movie. Shove fly away. Oh fuck. Oh well.
But no, I mean, I'll see a Blade Runner series. Yeah, as you said, as long as it's not messed up the way that Amazon sometimes. Well, see, to be honest with you, right? You're saying that, but other than Lord of the Rings show, I can't know a place another time where they've.
No, I can't. The Boys was great.
Yeah.
So
So with Lord of the Rings, let's just go into. We'll get to what you're watching and stuff, right? But just since we're on the topic, what is your issue? What is wrong with it? How can they make it better?
oh, it's just so slow, and I think if anybody wasn't like a big fan of Lord of the Rings, say like if you're yourself watching it, you would watch half an hour and go, "Fuck this."
Right.
You know, it's like there's
You,
no
you
bite
need to
to
be
it.
pure into it, like.
No, even at that, it's
Nah.
it's really bad.
Right,
It's really
aye.
slow, and like I've watched a couple of episodes of people that have like love the lore, and it's
Right.
like they're like raging in it because it just doesn't show anything that's connected to Tolkien stuff, and like they're saying there's like a wizard in it, and he shouldn't be there at this time in the timeline and all that stuff, and I'm like,
Right.
all right, so they're just basically taking their own
Just picking and choosing whatever they like.
kind of choosing, which is fine. Like, if they make a great show and say
Aye.
this isn't based on exactly what Tolkien wrote, but we're making our kind of world, and we're
Yeah,
taking things.
that'd be all
See, if
right.
they said that,
Mhm.
that would be beautiful. But they said in an interview, one of the two showrunners said, "Oh, we've exactly took everything from Tolkien's book,
Right.
like, and
So
put
that's
it on
just a
screen."
lie. That's just a
It's
lie.
literally just a lie. You're
Aye.
like, oh man, see if you just twisted your words and said, right. Like, I think because one of the things Tolkien says that elves are really long and fair, like long haired and fair skinned.
Mhm.
A couple of elves have buzz cuts, and you're
All
like,
right.
fuck.
So it's totally strange for the whole.
It's totally changed the whole thing. So there's no you can't really spot that's an elf or that's a man, or there's like they have a different race of men, like they're called the Numenorians, are supposed to be
Right.
a lot bigger and a lot stronger than just a normal man. And like they're just like guys that you've just left off Pays Road West.
Just some bloke.
And put like a Halloween costume.
Right.
So, I mean, it's not that, but like I'm really hoping it would go well, but I've not from the last episode that I watched, I couldn't put myself through another one until something happens.
Aye.
So
Wow, fair enough.
it's and that's coming from
Oh.
somebody that loves Lord of the Rings and loves what Peter Jackson done. I know
Right.
we talked about this the other way, like, but you're not really a massive fan of
No,
like
I'm not a Lord of the
you're
Rings guy at all.
you wouldn't jump in.
I do want to try this just because it's a big, expensive show, and I just want to see what.
You just want to jump in and just tear it to pieces.
Aye, that too. Aye, there's a wee bit of that. Yes, absolutely. But no, I think that it would just be
That's what it
interesting to
is.
see like what they've done. With the lore and shit. I mean, I don't care. I think it would be quite interesting for me to come at it as not a Tolkien fan though, because I don't give a shit about like elves not looking like elves. So maybe that'll be more alright for me as it would be a Tolkien fan. Do you know what I mean?
Like, see me, I did not give a shit either. I was like, this all okay. I didn't really recognise it in the beginning. I was like, oh, he's an elf, right? Okay.
Right.
Because it just had long ears, and I was like, right, he's an elf. But when people started calling that out, I was like, all right, okay, maybe it is right. Maybe that's why people are getting so pissed off. I mean, I would be really surprised if the dwarfs came and they were giants, you know. But all right,
I was
yeah,
going to say, that's the
something
only
like
thing
yeah.
about that. Like, see when somebody else points it out, I feel like that's when you start noticing it
You
more.
start seeing it.
You're like,
Yeah,
oh, I didn't even notice
exactly.
that before, but now I can't unsee it. Like, now that you've pointed it out, yeah.
I know. Oh, sorry.
Oh, if you look through it now, like, I was right. He's bald. He should have long hair. Because he's like, we
Right,
talking about
mate.
like him. He should have long hair as an elf.
That was 15 quid, that buzz cut. No fucking 40 quid. Oh, to get it like laced and shit. No, but I mean, the stuff that's saving it for me is the Elrond and I don't know the guy's name. He's the wee dwarf guy, like Durin, like
Right.
that kind of. It's like a bromance you can see of like they don't trust each other, but they're pals, and they want to trust each other, but they don't know, and it's like the conflict. There's actually
Aye.
story.
Right. That's good.
Everything else is
That's good.
just.
There's some story, some conflict. That's the start.
Do you know what it feels like? It feels like there's like different departments taking different stories.
Right.
So like maybe the juniors are writing one part, the actual good writers are writing
Aye.
like
Aye.
the I was going to say Legolas, but the
But it's just
Elrond part,
scattered.
and
Right.
then there's like some fucking like cleaner doing the like, doing, like the Numeronian
Yeah.
section.
Yeah.
Oh, it's brutal.
Just
Like
all over the place. Right.
I would watch the last season of Game of Thrones and think that was better than this.
Wow. Oh my god. That is a
That's a bad
strong
comparison.
comparison. That's
It's
not, no,
more
it's not a
entertaining, you
comparison
know.
you
There's
want.
dragons in it, like oh fuck, like the chair
Aye.
gets melted. Oh, like,
All of a sudden, it doesn't seem so bad.
no, it does no.
I
But
don't know.
yeah.
I'll maybe get into it. But like I said, I've got a battle of shows I actually want to watch, so we'll see.
But have you noticed, like, just to jump into the whole, I don't know if you want to move on to the Charlie Cox stuff, but have you
Uh-huh.
noticed everything's series now? We don't talk about movies.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
just clicked there. That was it's
TV is just pure taking over.
like Blade Runner's coming in. Lord of the Rings
Yeah.
has got one. Game of Thrones has got a TV show again. It's like, fuck.
Yeah.
When are movies starting to like? Giant movies are out the window now. This is another side thing.
I
Giant are
think.
like kind of no as important. Like,
I don't know about that. I think that there's a carryover for COVID. I think during COVID, movies, the cinema kind of took a big pause, and like people weren't making films weren't coming to cinemas, they were just coming to streaming, and I think we're still kind of recovering for that, even though the cinemas have opened again, and even though I feel like the movie that kind of like, if you could say that any movie saves cinema, it would be, in as much as this is probably not a good representation. Spider-Man No Way Home, like everybody went to see Spider-Man. I know it's just a dumb superhero film, but everybody went to see it, and it made a shit ton of money. And I think that movie proved to a lot of studios, oh shit, there is still money in movies. Because I do think there is studios out there that probably wrote off cinema and were like, it's all TV shows now. But I think that came along and was like a pure flagship. It was like, no, this is why people want to come to the cinema and experience this stuff. And I think since then, there's been a sort of steady intake. I mean, because we've got Limitless Cares now, we're at the cinema all the time. And I must admit, I've not been in an empty cinema hall in a long time. Like,
really? Are they relatively full?
do you want to know the last one I was at that was almost empty? Was that Everything Everywhere All at Once? It was a re-release that we went to, and it was like a slightly longer cut and stuff, and it had some extra shit. Had about maybe 6, 7, 8 people, other than me and Courtney, in the hall, and that's been like the quietest. So the halls do seem like they're still filling up and that. So I don't know. I mean, I can always only speak to like Glasgow cinemas. I know that there's a lot more places that might be different, but
no, I mean, like I remember when you said like when you were saying like the film to save the cinema. I remember the big talk was the Christopher Nolan film Tenet, and that completely flopped.
Yep. Tenet was supposed to save cinema, and it just. Don't get me wrong, I like Tenet. I'm a Tenet apologist. I enjoyed that movie, but it did not save cinema, no, and it did not live up to the kind of big break that Nolan had, where it was like, oh, what's going to do next? It was good, but it's not his best.
Do you think that damaged his kind of career, in the sense of like loyalist to his movement of films, or do you think it was a good enough movie that that's not going to damage it.
What I'm worried about as a Nolan fan, I like his sci-fi stuff more than his historical factual stuff. Like
Right.
I like Dunkirk, don't get me wrong, but I prefer like Memento and The Prestige and
Yeah.
Inception. Like I like those movies. So I'm kind of worried that because he tried a big sci-fi movie again, like Tenet, and it didn't really work. And now he's doing his next movie is Oppenheimer, which again is a historic. Like there's not going to be any sci-fi. It's going to be like a historical retelling of the atomic bomb. I do wonder, like, is he going to kind of move away from like fiction and move into like non-fiction? I kind of want to see him to continue to do like I didn't love Interstellar, but movies like that it's like I don't know, it's trying something new rather than just telling stories that have. I'm looking forward to Oppenheimer, and I love Dunkirk. I'm not taking anything away from those films, but I just think that Chris Nolan is such a creative guy that I'd like to see him keep writing new ideas and stuff. And
he's got enough fascination with time, isn't he? Like it's every film is usually time based, like
based
even
around time.
Inception,
Even Dunkirk, which was a war movie, was based around time.
Yeah, like, that's his main.
That's his bag
concept.
guy.
That's his like thing of like let's bounce it from here. Let's try and
But
tell
it is
story from a
interesting,
time perspective. I like Dunkirk. Me and my dad actually went to see that. He wanted to see an old war film, and we just went to see it in the cinema, and it was really.
It was good in the cinema.
Sound. It was really powerful.
It was.
And like all the performances were good, except maybe Harry Styles. He never really said it. He just
he was just there. He was fine.
It was like he was going to burst into music any moment. He was like, yeah, you could see it, like in the middle of the beaches. But I didn't even realize Michael Caine was in that. He was the pilot. He was the voice. I was like, who the fuck's that voice? Like, that's Michael Caine. He's
no
turn left, turn left, boys. I don't know if that's the terrible accent, but like Master Wayne, I know that. That's
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine.
What was it? What was the point of all those bloody push-ups if you can't even lift a bloody log? He lifts the
Upper Bruce Wayne. What's the point of all those bloody push-ups? Do you see that an interviewer asked Christian Bale if he would return to do Batman again?
Right.
He said me and Nolan have made like a kind of pact. We would only do it with each other.
Right.
If Nolan wanted to do one, he would be down to do it. But he wouldn't do it with like that. Like so I think they were trying to connect it to the whole kind of DC universe. And there was that
I'm glad they said no to that, because that was a kind of, as much as I don't love Christian Bale's Batman. It's okay.
It's fine for that world. I thought that was good for that world.
I prefer Affleck and Keaton and Pattinson, but I do think that those movies being connected to like the rest of DCU would make those movies worse. So don't do that. Just leave them as their own thing. Like
I think it hit its peak with Dark Knight, and then the last one I was like,
Rises was so disappointing.
It was disappointing, but it was alright. I mean, it was fine. I mean, it was a fine exit.
I agree. It was fine in the sense that I always think about Godfather 3 this way. Dark Knight Rises wouldn't have been considered a bad film if it came before The Dark Knight. Also, that wouldn't make any sense story-wise. But forget about that a minute. Like, just talk about like how much people enjoyed it. If that movie came before The Dark Knight and after Batman Begins, I think people would love that film. But it's because it was following... And it's the same with Godfather 3. I think The Godfather 3 is a good film. And I think if that came after the first one, it would be fine. But because it came after two like amazing movies to then end your trilogy on a pure... mediocre note, it's just I think that's why people get pissed off.
It's also quite a hard thing. Like they both have similar traits. That was quite interesting the way you compare. Like they're both ending a character's journey.
Yeah,
and it's like maybe that is like the most difficult thing to do. Because
stick the landing. Yeah.
The middle is where like the pride, the juice is, and then
No, I totally agree, because see when you think about TV shows finales, like how many TV shows end, even if they're amazing shows, how many of them end badly? We were talking about Game of Thrones earlier, for Christ's sake. Do you know what I mean? It's like, how good was Game of Thrones?
Oh no, that's good compared to Lord of the
Rings. No, but I mean, how good was Game of Thrones in the middle though, when you had like the Battle of the Bastards and like, all those episodes with Ramsay and stuff, and then it just became
fell off.
Like honest, and that's why I know that I keep kind of gushing about Better Call Saul, even though it's finished. But that's why shows like Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad, I think, are so brilliant because they're unique in that they end well. Like, they stick the landing. As the end of those shows are as good as the middle of those shows, and that's not often the case.
Do you think it's because like
they're
like I keep forgetting his name, but it's Gilligan.
Vince Gilligan.
Vince Gilligan. I think he just I think because he's the writer, he can serve them. You can serve the characters more because when Walter White ended, you felt like, okay, that's enough. Like, you've done your task. You know, you've done it well. Like, you've tried your best to financially support your family. Didn't really work out. You know,
to say the least.
Hug your machine and say goodbye. You know, it was kind of a justified ending. I think that's the same with Better Call Saul. Like, it was you felt right. This is the right spot to leave them. You know, it wasn't.
I agree.
It wasn't like
I didn't outstay its welcome. Yeah,
and
that's the thing. I think with TV and with like music and stuff, you want to walk away and leave people wanting more. That's like, I think that's the best technique in something. See, when people see if you keep doing it until people get sick of it, the thing gets remembered kind of not as well, like Game of Thrones. Whereas if, like, imagine Game of Thrones had finished, like, again, I know it would make sense story wise, but imagine it had finished when like Thingy was still in it. What's his name? Pedro Pascal. Like, people would be dying for that show to come back. People would be like on the internet constantly, like, give us more Game of Thrones. But the way it stands, nobody talks about it because it ended it badly. And I think there's a point where if you just walk away and just say that's all we're doing, I think that's everything comes back to Father Ted. I always think of Father Ted with that because there's only 3 series and it's some of the best brilliant comedy ever made, I think. And it's like, see if there was more of it, you wouldn't appreciate it as much. I think, like, because there's only 3 series, it's like, it's gold. I don't know, and I think that's the case for a lot of things.
It's also like, it's not like I'm finding this a massive issue now. Like, the series are far too long. Like Father Ted, as you said, it's three seasons, probably, like, I think maybe 15 episodes. Maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. With 6 a season, so aye.
Aye, so is it only
episodes or something?
Aye, okay. So it's like, that's edible, you know.
Like, you can watch it on a night or a weekend or whatever,
and you could enjoy it, and you could. It's like, it's pleasing to watch. Like, see, maybe the first 2 seasons of Game of Thrones, if you wanted to get into it, you need to be really into it. It's like kind of I think the first season's quite slow. Yeah. So it's like, now I think people are now thinking, all right, okay, TV series are the thing. We're going to make 5 TV series. 3 episodes are actually the most powerful, but the 8 are just fillers. Like, you know, that's maybe their mentality now. And it's like, stop it.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
If you look at Peter Jackson, like, it's awful annoying to compare. Oh my god, compare. Wow, Jesus, watching too many like compare.co adverts with the big opera guy. Compare, but like, if you compare his like Fellowship of the Ring film, that was 3 hours, and that was a movie. You had a beginning, middle, and end. The TV series of Lord of the Rings, you think there's like 4 hours, and there's nothing.
Right. Like, there's not even a beginning, middle, or an end.
No, you're just kind of lost in this forest. You're like, what the fuck? You don't feel safe at all. It's awful. But like, you can appreciate now that, see, actual talented people, they know how to structure things properly, and they're not just getting the eye candy, you know.
Well, that was the problem with Star Wars, wasn't it? They didn't know how to structure their trilogy, and they just made it up as they went, and then we got the sequel trilogy. Like, I just absolutely pissed up the wall, and that's how you lose a fan base. I think that's how you like properly lose a fan base, is doing that.
It's given me so much more respect for people that actually make great films. That's why I love watching wee indie movies now. You know, like, I know you hated it, but the Black Phone.
I didn't hate the Black Phone.
Oh, you fucking
nah.
No, but like, you didn't shout out that much. But we both kind of came out with the same kind of aspect of, how the fuck did he not hear that?
The more you think about it, the worse it gets.
Hole.
I enjoyed it. Aye.
But like, that film was actually quite good. It was well paced. You could sit and watch that. It was fun.
In one sitting,
Like, that's like a wee indie movie, you know. Well, no, really. You've got Ethan Hawke.
Well, it's still a Blumhouse movie, though. But I know what you mean. No, it's like it's an independent movie in the sense that it's not getting any sequels. It's not a reboot. It's not it's an adaptation of a book. Like, I guess is what it is.
Stephen King's son book, but like, it's
not like a big horror sequel. It's not like It Chapter
Aye.
2, like a big king like that. Like,
Aye, but it just gives you so much more respect for like good creators seeing stuff, and you're like, wow,
no,
you've got
hundred
something
percent.
special.
And there is. I'm going to get to when we talk about what we're watching. I'm going to get to a kind of smaller movie which I feel like deserves a bit more recognition. But anyway, let's move on to Daredevil.
Charlie.
So, Charlie Cox
We love
says,
you so much.
sa-
I
Jesus.
could have write it there.
So he was basically confirming that Daredevil Born Again won't be a sequel. It will be almost like a reboot. He
Mhm.
basically said this is season 1, it's not season 4. And that was at D23. He said that this is a direct quote, we made the Netflix show, that ended, years passed, and now we're making another show. And then somebody's put, well, calling it another show suggested it's not a direct continuation of the original series. So, interesting. I just think it's interesting because I don't know. I wouldn't mind. I don't know. I would need them to like as sort of everything that the last season put down, like the bullseye stuff and all that. Like I don't care about all that, but I would have liked if it was just a kind of passing mention, whether
Mhm.
like Matt Murdock's been active in New York. He's had a couple of run-ins with Wilson Fisk, and then just leave it at that. Like we don't need to know all the details of their like exact fights and relationships, so you can say, "Oh, that one is canon, that one isn't canon." But see if they just
Mhm.
kind of said, "Right, this character has been about, as you've seen in Netflix, this character's been about, and he's kind of like a few years into his Daredevil career. Go for there." Instead, I hope that. I mean, I doubt they will because I think they know better at this point. But I hope they don't do his origin again. Like I don't want to see a kid getting bladed in the street again. I've seen that twice
That's
already.
exactly what I was going to ask you.
I've
Do
seen
you
it with Ben
think?
Affleck. And I've seen it, and I'm like, no, I don't want that. Let's just pick up and go. Like we know Charlie. Not only do we know Daredevil as a character, but we know Charlie Cox is Daredevil. So there's no need to like.
Yeah, the audience is there. They already know the
Aye,
backstory.
before let's be honest, the vast majority of people that watch this show will have already seen the Daredevil show on Netflix.
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing; it's on Disney Plus now, so you can go and like, even if they could actually like tie it in when this is coming out. They could be like on Disney Plus. They could be now they push things at the top of the screen. They could be like, oh,
Mhm.
new Daredevil coming out. Go and watch the whole series to catch up, like that sort of thing. And I don't know,
Do you
can I
think?
cash in on it?
I know they've got Vincent. They've got the Kingpin and him sorted. Do you think they're going to bring the Karen Page character and the Foggy Nelson, or are they going to recast them? Or have you
See,
heard
I
anything
hope
like
they
that?
do because I think it would be awkward if they recasted them. I think it'd be weird because you'd be like, "You're not
You've
fucking
kept
Karen.
two
Who are
of the
you?"
whole.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. I'm like, you
yeah.
either. I don't know. I think it's weird. As much as I don't really care about things being connected and that, like I'm always saying with DC, I
Mhm.
think it would be weird if we're doing a different show with all the same cast. Like that would be weird. It's like, oh yeah, this is the Daredevil that you know, and this is the Kingpin that you know, and this is the Fogging Karen that you know, but they're not the same ones that you know. It's like what?
Yeah.
Like that's
What
not
we did there?
clear. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Aye.
I personally feel like as much as I like Charlie Cox, I'm glad he's back. See if you're going to reboot it, recast and start again, or continue where you left off. Like I think this kind of like half in, half out thing where it's like this is a new show, but it's the same character. It's kind of like make up your mind. Like either go with a new character and a new actor, or kind of just continue from where we left off. I don't know. This just seems
Like,
unnecessary. Like what's the need to make it season 1 again?
do you know what I think is like the massive stick in the mud is because he was in Spider Man. They're now
Mhm.
thinking, right,
Exactly. What
the
version?
fans wanted him, and that's
Uh-huh.
it. You know.
But also, it
And
raises the question of what version was that in Spider Man? Was that the version from the Netflix shows? Is that the version that's not Daredevil yet because he appeared in that before season 1 of Born Again? It's like, it just pure confuses
yeah.
things. And it's like, no, he's been Daredevil for a couple of years and now he's in this. I don't know.
See,
I think
also,
that's.
and it kind of frustrates me. See, if they were going to do the full thing, like do a like, start now, but they keep two characters, the fucking suit's the same.
Aha.
You know, change the suit. What you have done is coloured in a little bit of the suit. Like,
Just made it
it's still
yellow.
the same texture. You know, it's still the
Aye.
same
It's the
thing.
same suit. Aye.
If you want to make a massive distinction, that's not enough.
Aha.
You know, like it's one of those wee things that they're just buying in the fact that, oh, you watched the Netflix show,
Hmm.
you're comfortable with this visually, but actually we're changing the whole fucking show, and
Yeah.
we're only bringing Vincent and Charlie back because they're the big names. And see if
Yeah.
they go back and like retell the hand story,
I
and
know. And
like
Electra again and all that.
Electra
I've
and
seen
Stick
all that.
and all
Like,
that.
aye.
It's like
Aye.
I don't know
I'm
if Stick
totally.
was a religious character. I don't know if
No,
he
no,
was.
Sticks in the comic.
Stick's in the comics.
Yeah.
But like see if they do, like they can't do that. Like, do you think
I
they would
know.
do that? Do you think they've got the balls just to say
I don't
we're going
know.
to replay everything? We're going to build the hand
Surely
again.
not, man.
You know, we're going to build
I-
the friction between Daredevil and Elektra. Like it's like
Yeah.
Black Cat and Spider Man. You know, is it going to be the
I
same?
don't know because it's Disney. They're capable of anything, but I
I know.
hope not, man. I hope not. Because that would suck.
It would suck because even like it would suck for me if they don't if they bring in the Punisher or something. They don't bring fucking John
Bernthal. Yeah, me too.
Bernthal in. You're like, what?
Me too. I want to see him back as that character. I know. And that's the thing. As much as I love Charlie Cox's Daredevil, I would rather get out of all the characters, like out of the 5, I guess, like Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and Punisher. If I could keep one of them, it would be Punisher.
Yeah,
I think.
definitely.
So it would suck if we didn't get him back. But
I know. A
we'll see.
Rosa Dawson was kind of up in arms recently.
Rosario Dawson, yeah.
Rosario Dawson about getting involved.
Yeah, is she coming back? Did she not say
I
that
don't
she was
know.
in? I don't know.
I don't know. I just remember
so.
it was somewhere in the news that she wants to carry over the Night Nurse over, and
yeah.
But then again, they would need to. They shouldn't recast anybody. They should just fucking take the Netflix show
I know.
and just
like have new writers. That's fine. Like you don't need to have the same writers. Obviously, like have your Disney employed writers just pick up where those shows left off. Like you own the rights now, so that you can do whatever you like.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's weird.
Because like the best bit about that show was for me was the slow mo fight scenes as well. Like the best bit was like when it was like a 10-minute scene and you
like
just
a single take.
A single take.
No
You
cuts.
just saw him
Aye.
getting pure brutally battered to fuck and then winning. But like he's like leaning against the wall.
He's like a mess after it.
Aye, and
like
the
you
guy
have to
comes up
put your
and punches
flaring down today.
Exactly. I was like, oh fuck.
Same feeling.
I had to take uppers just to go on the show.
Chris is loaded up on all sorts of that.
But like it's a sin if they don't get like Foggy Nelson and they need to build all that relationship back up again. And the fact on the Spider-Man film, I think he just said I'm a good lawyer, and he was by himself. He never had Foggy, so maybe that is a thing. Maybe he's just a solo guy, and his main mission is to fight. Because the whole point of Daredevil is he's like not weak, but like he needs an emotional support around him.
Yeah.
I mean, I know in the really original, like the Spider-Man animated series, when I got introduced to him, he was blonde and he was up in a penthouse and he was rich.
Right.
I don't know if that's the stature Devil. I don't really know their origins, but he was a kind of a well-off guy fighting crime.
Yeah, he kind of gets there eventually, but he does kind of struggle for a while before that. But yeah.
But well, we're both on the same page with that then.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
Do you think that a Disney person just told me? See that? Do not say anything. Just
probably
keep it as season 1.
Aye, keep it. Oh, he will have been briefed on like what he can say 100% because I don't think they just let actors cut about say what they like anymore after like Mark Ruffalo and Tom Holland gave away like most of the MCU movies. I think they've kind of learned and they're like, right, this is what you can and can't say.
Mark Ruffalo still does it, man. Like even on TV shows and stuff, he still talks.
I know.
Just talks a lot of shit. He was like, great, everybody's dead in this.
I know.
Like,
he's like, see when Thanos does a snap and everybody dies, and you can see like Don Cheadle look at him like, shut up! Like, what are you talking about?
We were told this 2 minutes ago, just to not say it. Oh,
aye.
Kevin Foggy's on the bench. He's like, you're fired, man.
Maybe it was Mark Ruffalo that leaked GTA 6.
Oh, you never know. Like he might have a role in it. He might be the Hulk.
Right, let's move on to video game stuff now.
It's been rough. It's been a rough ride so far.
So TGS happened, the Tokyo Game Show, and it was one of the worst conferences, streams, events that I've ever seen. Honestly, there was nothing.
This year's not been good for any of it, man.
Well, I'm going to get to the state of play in a minute because that was pretty good. But the TGS show was garbage.
Brutal.
The only thing there was nothing of note. that Konami had a stream, and a lot of people were anticipating either Silent Hill or Metal Gear reboot to get, or like a remake to get announced, and nothing did. It was just a bunch of garbage looking JRPGs and like games where you're like collecting mail as like a Japanese postman, and just absolute shite that you're like, why are you wasting time showing this?
Collecting mail.
The only thing kind of semi-related to that is not Konami, but Hideo Kojima and his kind of production team. They are teasing a project involving Elle Fanning, who is Dakota Fanning's sister. She's in a big TV show now. I can't remember. Is it that Catherine the Great? I don't know. She's done a big period piece TV show. Kojima's doing something with her for his next game, but we don't know what it is. Don't know when it's coming out. Don't know what it's going to be about. Don't know who she's playing. All we know is he's doing something. So, that's
could be
basically
utter rubbish.
It could be, but as I said, kind of moving on for that was the state of play that Sony had that same week was pretty good. We got a new look at God of War. We get a bit more of a look at Thor in the game, holding Mjolnir, Fat Thor, played by Ryan Hurst. And we get a wee scene where Kratos and Thor are fighting. You also get a wee bit more footage of what's the boy's name? Well, he's Loki. It turns out there's a twist at the end of God of War, but Atreus, whatever he's called.
Atreus.
Get a wee bit more footage of him, and
I love that they're going with the Fat Four. That's really to me. I'm
like
happy.
this kind of traditional. I mean, that's how in the old Norse stories, that's how he was like described. That is the traditional version. Yeah. They made him handsome for Marvel, but that's the way he looked like originally.
Hemsworth,
like he was a fat Viking, basically.
You have disappointed me now.
And it's see Ryan Hurst he was in Sons of Anarchy. He was Opie's pal, and he was in Walking Dead recently. He wore that mask. He was one of the mask people. He's playing Thor.
I think he's kind of got a soft voice.
Yeah,
I always think
he's got a good
Thor would be to do. You know, he's
got.
Nah,
he can do that too. Hello. I think he can do that too. No, I reckon he can pull that off.
Is it all motion capture? Is he in the suit then? Do you think? Is he in like
no,
suit?
I'm pretty sure he is. Because I know that I can't remember the guy who plays Kratos, but he does all the motion capture along with whoever plays the boy. So no, it is. So I'm pretty sure it's all motion capture. So as far as I know, Ryan Hurst would have done the same. So God of War got shown, and Tekken 8 was officially announced. I'm not sort of mad on the Tekken games, but it's a big game announcement, I guess, for like the fighting community and stuff. And the other kind of big thing that was announced was a thing called Rise of the Ronin. Rise of the Ronin is a new action RPG from Team Ninja, and it's insane how many games we're getting that just look like Ghost of Tsushima. Like, I'm not complaining; it's great because I like ninja games. But Jesus Christ, like that's 4. Like, there's Ghost of Tsushima is obviously getting a sequel, right? So there's Ghost of Tsushima 2. There's this Assassin's Creed game that they're doing set in Japan that we're going to get to in a minute. There's this game, Rise of the Ronin, and then there's that Chinese game, what's it called? Where Winds Meet. And
that's all of them, the love letter, isn't it?
Yeah, that one's more like mythical. I think it's more about like Chinese religion and gods and stuff. But gameplay looks like Ghost of Tsushima. Like, it looks like you're swinging a katana and you're jumping about, like climbing and stuff. Like I said, listen, I'll take it. I don't care if this becomes its own genre. I'm fine with that. But it's just mental.
It must have made a heck of money.
Ghost of Tsushima was huge. I mean, they're turning it into a movie, Ghost of Tsushima, so it shows you how big it is. We also got to look. That's a good state of play was. Like, we also got to look at the new Harry Potter game, that Hogwarts Legacy. And we
I thought that got canned. Is that
no, it's still coming. I think it got delayed. I think it's coming out. I think it's maybe coming out the end of this year, and it's now coming out at the start of next year. It's coming out like February or March 23. So we got another look at that, and we also got a look at a VR Star Wars game. So our kind of first look at PSVR 2, and then we also got a game called, what was it called again? Stellar Blade. It was originally known as Project Eve, and again, it's kind of Japanese action game. It looks quite Bayonetta, like it looks kind of like Bayonetta. But just a really good state of play. Like, loads of kind of good looking games that are all coming out, and I was like, yes, this is what we want. They should all be like this, please, in future, and don't waste our time like TGS did with Konami and no giving his Metal Gear.
It's like a weird kind of thing of you should satisfy the fans, and also if you satisfy the fans, you can get to do your own thing. So see if you was to announce Metal Gear like 5, is it 5? Is it 6?
It would be 6, but
It would be
I don't
6.
think it'll be a sequel. I think it'll be a remake of the original.
But see, even if he did do that, like then he would say, right, I've bought your like let's go and make Silent Hill again. Right, okay, let's go and jump. I don't know if he wants to. Maybe that's what it is. He's like, I've made them.
No, I
Want
don't
to
think
touch them.
Kojima would ever consider going back to that. I think as a company, though, Konami are just leaving a crazy amount of money on the table. Like there's
Oh yeah, definitely.
there's enough fans of those games that are now working in the gaming industry that you could probably hire somebody that's a big Metal Gear fan that's worked on a couple of games and just let them remake it. Like, and that's millions of dollars, like billions probably. Like, there's so much money to be made there. Like, everybody would buy it, and they're just not doing it. It's mental. It feels like free money they're just not taking. Do you know what I mean?
Do you see the most recent Metal Gear Solid? Did I get canned by critics? Like
It got the last Metal Gear Solid game that Kojima worked on was Metal Gear Solid 5. He kind of went too far with the whole. He was taking too long to finish it, and the game was already like 40 hours long, and he was wanting to make it even longer. And Konami were like, "Hurry up and put this thing out." And he was like, "Oh, you're stifling my creativity," and it became a big thing. And he walked away, and big fallout. And then with the IP, the only thing they've done since was a zombie game, because why not put zombies in Metal Gear?
oh
It
yeah, I
was
saw
called
that.
Metal
Oh,
Gear
that was
Survive.
Survive.
And
Yeah,
so
that
at the
was.
start of Metal Gear Solid 5, there's a big like army base that blows up. And then in Metal Gear Survive, they made it that there was a wormhole that opened up to another dimension, and one of the soldiers gets sucked through it. So you play as this soldier in this new dimension where there's zombies.
Oh, should I even play Snake?
No, he's a play Snake. No.
Wow.
Do you know something? I didn't hate that game. Like, I feel
Did
like
you?
as a Metal Gear fan, I should have absolutely hated that game. I played it way after it came. Like, when I heard about it, I was like, garbage. Why are they doing that to the franchise? Stop. And then like a couple of years went by, and it might even been free on PS Plus, or like maybe I bought it for like a $5 in a
Right.
sale,
Okay.
and I played it. I was like, do you know what? I've played worse zombie games, but I've also played better zombie games. It was just that it was a mediocre zombie game. Like, that's all it was. It wasn't that offensive. Like, it was fine. But people hated it because of the Metal Gear connection, obviously. But
do you think it's kind of like Keanu Reeves in that film star thing? Like, do you think, I can't remember the guy's name, but the developer, do you think it is like something that he's put up that everybody thinks he's amazing now?
Hideo Kojima?
And nothing, Kojima? Or do you think he is really good? He's just wants to do his own weird creative stuff?
I think that 100% the name recognition thing is there. I think people want to see what he's doing next. But I think if you're any creator, I think that comes as a burden. Like, it's the same way Neil Druckmann with The Last of Us, like how much hate he got after Last of Us 2, which I didn't like Last of Us 2, but I still think a lot of that was a bit far. Like, they were going after his like religion and stuff, like he's Jewish, and people were like being anti-sectarian and anti-Semitic. And it's like, mate, he made a game, like he made a cartoon that you can play. Why are you being? Do you know, that's when it gets like out of hand. And I think. See, at the end of the day, these are all just dumb. Like, see, at the end of the day, as much as I love video games and I love talking about them, I love playing them, they don't matter. Like, see if they stopped, the world would keep going. Like, the world would keep spinning. It wouldn't matter. And it's like,
my life.
Why are we like attacking people over like their race or gender, their religion, because of something that doesn't even matter? Do you know what I mean? That's why I think it's just pure dumb. It's like, mate, it's a story.
It's
like, calm down.
Do
you know what I mean? It's not a big deal. Like, there's actual people out there, like politicians and stuff, that are actually doing shady shit. We should be going after them and not going after some guy that made Kenobi or made whatever. Game. Like, or even the guy that's making the ones that made Game of Thrones. They were getting death threats and stuff. It's like, mate.
Oh, were they actually?
Wow. And it's like, mate, grow up. I don't know. I think being a creator at that level, obviously, it would be nice that people want to see what you want to do next. Like, obviously, you want that interest, but I think you've got a lot of pressure as well, like to live up to the hype and shit. Because you must, like, but whoever's making the next Star Wars movie, like, Jesus, like, I know the last one was garbage, but imagine that pressure. Like, okay, you're getting to make a Star Wars movie, that'd be amazing. but what if people don't like it? Do you know what I mean? It's
I
a
know.
big deal, man.
And also, like, see, even like if you've done a massive movie, like, see Taika Waititi, is that I keep fucking up his name,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
he's supposed to be doing a Star Wars movie.
yeah.
Like, maybe the people knew are thinking, well, he can't do it because his film
Because
failed.
of Thor.
You know,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. I
So
do
like,
think
it's
that
all
Thor's put a
that
big.
stuff.
Yeah. Well, look at what's it called? Colin Trevorrow, who did the Jurassic movies, like the Jurassic World movies. He was meant to do Rise of Skywalker, and then he got taken off it because he made a movie. I can't remember what the name of the movie was. It wasn't like Diary of a Wimpy Kid, but it was something like that. It was like it was a kids movie, and apparently it was one of the worst things ever made. Apparently it was
Oh,
absolute unwatchable garbage, and then that's why he
fuck.
get taken off. He get taken off of Star Wars because of that. So it just shows you like there's a lot of pressure on these things, man. If you mess up badly enough, you will lose your job, basically.
There's lots of eyes that you don't realize are watching. It's not
Mm.
just the guys that are shouting loudest; it's the guys that have the decisions to
Yeah,
say no.
but a lot
Sorry,
of
mate.
time the guys that shout loudest are the ones that kind of like put the seed out there, and then it kind of builds for there. But
Oh, yeah.
aye, Chris, what do you
Bastards.
think of them announcing 5 Assassin's Creed games? Because I think it's mental.
It's absolutely absurd.
I'm going to ask you
Like,
if you give your opinion for a wee second. We'll be back to a second.
I'll talk for 5 minutes. The whole Assassin's Creed franchise started with me with the first one, obviously. I was going to say Enzo, but I can't even remember the guy's name. The guy it was in like the fucking hub, and then it went to Ezio. It ended with Ezio for me. Hopefully, I'm getting the right name right. But when it ended with Assassin's Creed Revelations, when he was the older version, and he went through all the kind of worlds of kind of just realizing this kind of he went from the beginning to the end, and he's now done. His story's finished, and then it started jumping into Odyssey and all this random shit. like, like, I was just saying, like the Assassin's Creed died with Ezio for me,
I agree. I
and
no,
then
I totally agree.
it just jumped into all these
We
random fucking things.
we kind of on an episode that you'll never hear at home because we lost it.
Or
We
we
did kind
might
of
have
speak about
some
this last
deleted
week.
scenes or something. You never know.
We did
Something
kind of speak about this last week, but I wanted to bring it back up because Ubisoft for me are a company that can make one game well, and that was their whole mentality. Like, and it sounds like a dick thing to say, but it's like how many without like that's why I'm like, oh, is that a bit harsh? But then I'm like, no, do you know what? How many chances are they going to get? Like they've had their
exactly.
chance with Assassin's Creed, they've had their chance with Watch Dogs, they've had their chance with Far Cry, they've had their chance with Ghost Recon, they've had their chance with like the Prince of Persia remake that was apparently restarted because it was garbage. Like how many
That was
times are we
bitch.
going to give them
Oh,
this chance? And it's like I don't know, man. I think a lot of people are getting extremely sick of it and extremely sick of their like way of working as well. So when they obviously, as you said, they made the Ezio games and then they made the Assassin's Creed 3 and
France, man,
Unity
all that
and
stuff. Aye.
Syndicate and all that, right? So they made all them. They were all average at best, garbage at worst, right? And then they turned around and they said, no, do you know what? We're rethinking it. We've got a new strategy. Instead of putting out a game every year like they were doing, we're going to take a year off. We're going to put all our resources into one game. We're going to like just put all this care and kind of expertise into this one project and make it as good as it can be. And then that's what they made Assassin's Creed Origins. I'm pointing up there because it's on my shelf as if you can see it, but they made that, right? And then people loved that. People thought, right, it's a good turn for the Assassin's Creed franchise. They've made it bigger. There's more to do. There's more an RPG side to it. It takes
Mhm.
you longer to beat the game. It's less just like a story game. There's a bit more to it. And then obviously they had, as you said, they had Odyssey and Valhalla. And again, I don't know how much people like those games, but they're fine. They are, but they are. Again, I think both of them were quite broken when they came out. So that was what kind of proved to me, like, because when they done Origins, I was like, right, okay, they're rethinking their strategy. They're actually taking some care with this big franchise, which it should be. It's a multi-million-pound franchise. People love it. Like you should take care of it instead of just milking it like a cash cow. But then they didn't manage that the next two times because both Odyssey and Valhalla both launched with problems. So now we're at the stage where instead of rethinking the strategy again and saying, right, because they took 2 years to do Origins, right? They took a year off. And then the year after Origins, they did Odyssey. And then the year after that, they did Valhalla. And it's like, why did you think that doing yearly releases before, where these games were maybe 20 hours long at a stretch, and they were like single player story games, when you, even though they were kind of set, they were open world, but they weren't like, not to the extent the new games are.
Mm-hmm.
You've then opened up, you've made the world bigger, you've given the player more options, you've made the game longer, you've put in all this extra cutscenes and dialogue and shit. Why did you then think that you could do that on a yearly basis? Like, surely you learned from before that you're not able to deliver a
Good point.
quality game every year, so stop doing it. Now it turns out they are taking a year off. There's nothing really coming out this year. I think there's a Valhalla DLC. It's going to be quite a big DLC, but that's it for this year. And then next year, they're doing Assassin's Creed. What was it called? The one in Baghdad, Mirage, Assassin's Creed Mirage, and that's what they announced this at last week's Ubisoft thing. Like I said, we covered this on the last episode, but I wanted to bring it back up because I'm actually going to write a piece on this. This is probably going to be some sort of an essay at some point. I don't think that it's a good idea for them to take on this Mirage thing, right? They're doing this. They're doing a mobile game that you can climb the Great Wall of China called Assassin's Creed Jade for some reason. They're doing their Japanese game, which we kind of referenced earlier, Codename Red. They're doing another game which does sound interesting, and it's to do with like the witch trials, like the witches and stuff, called Codename Hex. And then they're also doing this big Valhalla DLC that I was speaking about. So they're doing 5 major projects within, well, I guess it's going to be a fairly short stretch of time, and it's like, why did you think that this was the right strategy? It doesn't make any sense to me. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that they're all amazing. I hope that they all come out and they're all brilliant games. And I'm like, do you know what? I was wrong, but I do not see that. Like, not for Ubisoft.
With the track history that Ubisoft has, no,
I can't see it, and I think
expecting worse.
I don't know. I think they're fighting a losing battle with it. I know they're trying to get people excited, also they're trying to keep their investors happy and shit. But it's like, mate, you can't make one game well. What makes you think you can do 5 well? Like, I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
But it also hits back to like, when do you know when your series is finished?
Yeah,
you've done 18 games, 40 games, like 1 million games by now.
Yeah,
you've got interesting concepts like the Witch game, the Project Red. Why doesn't it be attached to Assassin's Creed? I know Assassin's Creed has an audience, but can you maybe do something that's a wee bit different and go into 4 different directions? Build 4 different unique games.
Yeah.
One in witchcraft, one in like in Japanese, China, or whatever the hell you want to go.
Yeah.
And go and build those universes. You've got you could say it's kind of linked to Assassin's Creed. It's an assassin game, but it's not the ones with the
like the Templars and all that. And
the Templars, it's not connected to that. But maybe it is. It's some sort of an assassin. That's it. Build your universe there. If you really love assassin stuff, you've got 3 themes there. Go and play with them.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to this point where they've either said, right, the only game that's selling constantly is Assassin's Creed because it's that money grabbing
name recognition
thing.
Yeah.
And they're stuck with it. And they've got probably creators that say, I want to go in this direction, I want to go in this direction. But fuck, right, okay, we've came up with this unique idea, and then the stakeholder comes in that just slap Assassin's Creed on that, and that's it, you know.
We were just speaking about Kojima and Metal Gear, and for so many years he wanted to create, like you're saying, he had other ideas that he wanted to make, and if their own franchise, and they were like, no, Metal Gear's popular, Metal Gear sells, keep making Metal Gear. And that's when I think you lose the kind of creative love for what you do. See, when it becomes just you're doing this to try and make money instead of doing it for like just to tell a story, that's when you start losing the. I think that's when the chances of it being good just drop. That's when you're like, this is going to be shite. Like, I don't know. I think that's when the quality drops.
It's also like everybody's trying to become their own. Like, they've now realised that open world is a big thing. But Assassin's Creed, when it was done well, was a linear structure. It was a small game.
Yeah.
That it did tell a wee story. I couldn't remember the story when you went away. I couldn't remember the main character's name. That's why I went to Ezio.
What, in the first one? Altair.
Altair. Like, he was... Fair enough, it was a simple game.
Yeah.
but it got you into the world.
Yeah.
The second game was also a simple game. Third game was also a third game, and then when it went into the whole multiplayer thing, it just got too complicated. They were trying to do juggle too many things.
Yeah.
And now they've went into this open world, and now everybody expects that. The basic expectations has been like raised,
Mm-hmm.
and Ubisoft can't keep up with it.
Nah.
So, and they're also flipping so many games now. It's just like you're going to either get bought by Microsoft because you're going to lose, mate, and they're going to take over the titles, take your creators or whatever.
And
I don't know.
well, that's the thing as well. Like, I'm very much, if you've read any of my stuff, you'll know that I'm quite against the idea of like consolidation within the industry. Like, I don't really want other companies to get bought up because I just think that with more corporate bigwigs are handling things, then we're not going to get games that are as good.
Stuff. Yeah.
That said, in this situation, I do kind of hope that somebody buys Ubisoft because they are not treating. Same with Konami, they're not treating their franchises well. So see if somebody like Sony or Microsoft or somebody else can buy them and manage it better. Do it. Same with DC. It's the same with Warner Bros. And DC. See if like Warner Bros. Are mishandling the rights and the franchise rights. Give it to somebody that knows what they're doing, that can plan a series of movies, or just make one good movie and go for there, like, or one good game and go for there. Like, I'd much see that than like all
Do you know
this.
one thing that happens? I've seen it time and time again now, and I'm thinking it's to do with like relationships. Like people need to build a relationship bond with the company that they're working with, or like that. Like if they were like DC, I
Yeah.
know Zack Snyder loved the DC universe and stuff, but see some people they might just see that as a money cash and grab thing. If they join into Ubisoft, they say right, we're going to make Assassin's Creed, we're going to make millions of money. They don't actually care about what the game's going to be in the next 5-10 years time. So it could be like like everybody just needs to be. You have to be fired unless you know that you're really into the game.
With that
A new policy, like
fight to the death with pool cues. How much you like this?
exactly. Like it's one of those things where you have to be really passionate with it. And as you said, if they keep doing the same thing, like the big creators are going to get pure depressed and bored,
Yeah,
and they'll be like, right,
they're going to get pissed
I'm
off,
done.
and yeah,
Nah.
that's it. And as you've said before, it's not about the companies and it's not about the owners. It's about the creators. Like, that's, if you lose that, then you've got nothing.
It comes through. Like it's sad. It's really scary how it comes through. If you don't like what you're doing and you're doing it just for because somebody's told you to do it,
You can almost
you're
feel
like,
that when you're watching it or you're playing it or whatever.
you're like, well, you're like, fuck it. Like,
If they don't care, why should I?
you told me to do that, so
Aye.
that's your
But
result.
that's what I was thinking. I'm like, see if the person that makes this doesn't care, why am I caring? Like,
Exactly.
they're expecting us to give a shit, but they clearly didn't care when they were making it. So it's like, why bother? Like, aye, totally.
And it's like it's kind of the same thing with like like you're not going to pay 40 quid now. Like now that's probably why a lot of games are like getting subscriptions now. Mate, I don't know. You know, like Xbox has the Xbox Plus and PS Plus.
Well, something else that was announced during this Assassin's Creed stream was something called Assassin's Creed Infinity, which I've read up. I've been reading up for about a week, and I still don't know what the
I'm sure that
fuck
was
it
a
is.
game.
So probably no. It's essentially. I think it's going to be a subscription thing. I think if you pay Ubisoft, I don't know, £10 a month, you get access to.
Wow,
I
that's
don't,
still
I'm
pricey, man.
totally
That's
guessing,
still
just
pricey, man.
random number. Well, that's what Game Pass is, isn't it? I think it'll be like Game Pass. It'll be like Xbox Game Pass. You'll pay like so much a month, and then you'll get access to like any new Assassin's Creed games that come out, plus all the old ones, like just whenever you want. I think that's what it'll be. I don't know, because I think they deep down know that if they launched that, people would hate it, but it's Ubisoft and they don't care. So I think they might. I don't know, but Assassin's Creed Infinity is this thing which all these 5 games that they announced, or these 4 games with the DLC, they're all being released through Assassin's Creed Infinity. It's like this umbrella thing that's going to be. I think it's going to be like it's going to be a hub world thing, but it's going to be a subscription. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's what it'll be.
I don't know for a fact, but let's move on to slightly more positive gaming stuff with the big topic. In fact, before we get there, let's do what you've been watching. Chris, have you been watching anything or playing anything that you want to talk about?
The only thing I've recently bought. I think we were talking about this last week. I may as well just rehearse what I said. I bought
Aye,
the
well, nobody else heard it.
the Spyro and Crash Bandicoot
Yes.
remakes. So,
Are
and I was
you
speaking
still
last.
still absolutely kicking your ass?
There are still. I almost uninstalled Crash Bandicoot. I
What?
woke up early thinking, right, I'm going to go and get this done. I'm going to take a fresh look at it. You know,
Yeah,
let's just
fresh
breathe.
eyes. Aye.
Fresh eyes. Let's wake up with the freshest eyes that will.
And how far are you? What bit yet?
Oh fuck! I'm still at the fucking last mission of the first island. It's so annoying.
What is the mission like? Is it one of the
It's one of the village. It's like one of the
like the
I think
jungle
it's like
one?
the jungle one, aye.
Right.
And it's literally I get to the last section, and I have it like about like maybe 14 lives, and I get to this one bit, and I just like jump on like a furnace and burn myself every
Ah.
time. And I'm like, oh. I was like squishing my controller there. I think I broke it. Like
Is it one of the maps with the big balls that go from side to side, and you need to like time it and jump in between them?
Oh, I think it's got one of them in it. But one thing that frustrates me so much is the controls. Like,
Right.
even though like some of the maps are like it's like 2D, like you can only see that you're jumping up stuff.
Yeah.
But your controller, it's 3D world.
Yeah,
so if you're jumping, you've missed.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
There's
There's that depth thing that you don't
You need
really
to be accurate to each ledge, and I'm like, I didn't realise it at first. I was, the game's just being an arse, and I was like, I'm the one that's shit.
Nah, I know what you mean. Like if you're too far over the ledge, then it'll aye.
And I've begun to resent the sound of and then like wee noise.
You hear that in your sleep, like damn it.
I'm like I'm no safe. I'm no safe in that.
You're in the shower, you hear that? You're like, what the hell was that? just
I know
in your head.
It's begun to haunt me, man. It's awful. But
other than being haunted by Crash Bandicoot, have you been up to it? No, is that just
no? I'm doing myself a pure brutal punching bag today. Like I was playing, like, cause Batman Arkham Asylum. I have like about like maybe 5 achievements to get from that.
Right.
And I was playing it last night, saying, right, okay, let's get this 100%. But it's the battle challenges.
Right.
And I need to get it. And I'm like, I've not played it in probably about 4 years or maybe 5 years. And I'm like, how did somebody play this? Like, have you ever went back to an old game that's relatively old, but like it's modern? It's not like PS1 era. It's like PS3. And you're like, this is so clunky. And you're pressing buttons, and you're like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, there's like I think you needed to get to 30,000 points.
Right.
And I think when I was playing it, I must have achieved it before because I got 30,000 at one point.
Right.
And then I looked at this and I got 5,000. I'm like, oh my god! Like,
you thought like I hate that when you're going for a trophy like that. You think, oh, I'm doing quite well, and then you look at your score and you're all at like 4,000, and you're like, mate, I've got another 25,000 to go.
And it's so annoying. Like, see, when that, I would say that is the only game you could properly achieve in the Batman franchise for full
like 100%
achievements. Because you don't have all the different characters. I went and looked at Arkham Knight. You have to go through all like Batman, Robin, Batgirl, Catwoman, and all that.
Nightwing and
you have to do that. Nightwing. You have to do the 40 missions 7 times and get the best score. And I'm like, no.
No chance.
No.
Sorry.
Because like people, I don't know. I watched a guy. It was his first chance, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, there's no way. There's no way that's your first goal. And he was like, I was like, this is my first goal. It's very calm and gentle. And I was like, you son of a bitch. I've replayed it about 20 times, and I've heard the same line of dialogue from Mark Hamill. I'm like, you're just, I love you, mate, but you're no.
You better shut
up. Just go away. So yeah, I've been playing the 2 games, so they have been frustrating. But I just can jump onto you now. But have you ever played a game that you really loved, and then you went back to it? It's quite modern, and you realise how clunky it is, and how did I love this at the time it came out? Like,
I kind of see what you mean with Crash. I had that experience with Crash Bandicoot. 100%. I mean, it's happened like that before, but it's also happened the opposite way. Like Half-Life 2, when you go back to that, it still plays well. It still feels good. Whereas another one that I did kind of feel like I had rose tinted glasses on. I went back maybe about 5 years ago. I went back to play Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver.
Oh,
No, not Soul Reaver, Blood
that's a deep
Omen.
cut.
The one where you play as Kain, the white vampire with the white hair and stuff. It was Blood Omen 2, and I loved that game when I was young. Like, I loved that game so much, man. Being a vampire and sucking blood, killing guys, it was awesome. And so when I went back to it, I was like, "This is really bad." But at the time, it was quality, and you definitely do look at things through rose-tinted glasses. I mean, there's loads of memes about how, like, when you think of like the old Need for Speed games, you think of them looking like in it, and then you see like a screenshot, and it's just like a pure box on wheels with like terrible neon like lighting, and you're like, "Oh, that looks awful." Like, how did I used to think that looked good?
Need for Speed Carbon. Did you ever play that?
Aye, I played Carbon.
I thought that looked really good.
That did look good. That was one at night time when you used to go down the canyons. That's right. I did like that one.
I think every character had like a blue hue on them.
That's right.
It was like an outline, like just to see you could see them.
That was always a game I do like the Need for Speed games, but I know what you mean though with that feeling when you go back to an old game like GTA's. We're going to talk about GTA in a second. When you go back to like Vice City and San Andreas, there's certain missions, like the mission where you're chasing the train in San Andreas as CJ.
Oh, and then fucking Big Smoke. Like, you missed the train, CJ. You didn't shoot the guy.
that mission and the mission in Vice City where you have to fly that remote helicopter into the construction. Oh man, those two missions can get to fuck, man. Like,
they can.
So there's certain points like that you're like, how did I, as a Wayne, how did I suffer through this and finish it? But
I don't know if I did, man. Like, I think I've got this memory of me completing the GTA games. I don't think I ever did. I just like say, I completed it. I don't think I did. I like Big Smoke was still alive. He didn't die. Like that was one thing. Like, see, like just speaking about the GTA stuff, I was actually considering buying the three trilogies. The three of like just the remaster version.
Yeah.
Thinking like it's been a year. They obviously must have done some updates to it.
I honestly don't know.
Still looks the same.
Is it? I genuinely, I've not even followed it, but I think they just kind of gave up after the backlash and the memes. I think they just kind of went, you know what? We're not even going to fix it. It's broken.
We're not even going to help. No,
like, just deal with it. I don't know.
I mean, it's a difficult thing. It's like if you're going through something, you can even think it yourself. If you're going through something that's already created, it's worse probably mending it than probably creating something brand new.
Yeah.
Like it's probably easier to just say, right, okay, we're going to remake San Andreas. We don't want to remaster it. We're going to remake it. You know, it's probably easier because you have to deal with all the random shit.
Aye. Totally. I don't know if I've spoken about this on an episode that we've actually put out yet, but I was playing Metal Hellsinger over the past week, which is the Doom game, which you shoot and type in the music. I think I have spoken about it on one of the episodes that's went up. I finished the game and I finished the review. The game came out a week ago. So the review is live. I'll link that below if you want to check it out. But I really liked it. It was good. Too short. There wasn't enough to it. It was only about 4.5 hours long.
Wow.
So it kind of felt like you were just getting into it and then it ended. But I liked it.
A new Doom game.
It's not actually a Doom game, but it's like Doom. It's a first person shooter set in hell. You're fighting demons, but you can only fire in time with the music. So like, there's heavy metal music playing in each level. There's a different song. And it's written by like famous metal artists, like System of a Down wrote a song and stuff, and they're all like original compositions for each level of the game. So I think there's like 8 or 9 levels, and it's fun. You can only shoot in time with the music. It's intense. It's fast paced, and the guns feel good, and it's a lot of fun. But it's very samey. Like every level, you start off. You shoot through the kind of like low level demons and build up your kind of combo, and then you get to fight some harder demons, and then you fight the hardest demons, and then you fight a boss, and then the song ends and the level ends, and then you do it again, and then you do it again, and that's kind of the whole game. Like there's not that much to it, and to be fair, although I'm saying it's only 4 hours long, see if that went on for any longer, you would get pure sick of it. So
Yeah,
I can see why they stopped after that amount of time because it would be kind of too much of the same thing. But I hope they do a sequel. Or if they don't do a sequel, I hope they do some DLC. Like I would buy songs for the game that are like different from what's already there. Like see if they done like a Black Sabbath downloadable thing, or like a AC/DC, or even like the Beatles, or like something pure different, and you're just cutting about through hell. The Rolling Stones, you're shooting guys to Sympathy of the Devil or Painted Black, like 100%, man. Like I don't know if they
Iron
will do
Man
that.
from Black Sabbath.
Aye,
I
aye,
am
or
Iron Man.
like Back in Black, AC/DC. Like imagine those kind of songs in the game. I think that would just be heavy cool. But aye, I don't know if there's any plans for them to do that, or if they're going to do a sequel. But I feel there's a lot. It's one of those games that what's there is good, but I feel there's more potential there than what is actually in the game. Like it could go on to be something really cool if they kept working on it, expanding on it. But it's
That
good.
that scratches the itch of the memory of Resident Evil 3. Like
Yeah,
the remake of that. That was like 3 hours. You could play that in like 3 hours, and you're like,
yeah,
you had
that was a
so much more
shot.
potential,
Yeah,
and you fucked up.
basically just cashed in on the success of Resident Evil 2, didn't they? Just like,
Aye.
let's just put a
But
half-assed remake and call it a
do
day.
you think it is in the sense of that's all that game was? Like it is like just you play music, you kill it. It fits its purpose. You couldn't really make a longer version. You would maybe be sick of it, or do you think it would be?
I think what's there feels quite bare bones as well because there's not that much story. Like it is just you're playing as a kind of female demon that's had her family ripped away from her by the devil, and she wants her family back. That's kind of
Mhm.
that. Troy Baker voices like Joe and stuff. The last was he voices the skull that she carries about with her. The skull can fire fireballs out its mouth, and that skull does all the talking. Like basically, the only voice actors in the game are Troy Baker as the skull, and the the devil in the game. They call him the judge, the red judge. I think, but it's basically Satan. So the red judge is like a female voice and like kind of demonic, and then Troy Baker does this like narration, like your character's called the unknown. So in between every level, they'll be like, it's cool. The cutscenes are cool. They're like they use the concept art for the game, so it's like this cool concept art environmental piece of hell, and then like there'll be like a few characters superimposed in front of it, and then it'll be like Troy Baker being like, next the unknown had to go into the next circle of hell and shoot away through some more demons, and then he like kind of narrate them between bits, but that was my Troy Baker impression.
That was good. That was good.
But it's good. There can be more to it. I think there's potential there, but what's there is fun.
He's doing no bad to himself, Troy Baker. Like
Oh Christ,
he's been in
he's the
like
guy.
he's
To
the
be
main guy.
honest,
Like, but
he's
like
the
I would.
go-to at the minute.
When do you think he broke through? Do you think he broke through
He took over.
relatively recently?
I'd say 5 years ago. Well, no more than that. Probably about 10 years ago.
When he took over Mark Hamill? Like,
But I was going to say he took over Noah North. Noah North was like the big one, like Nathan Drake, and like Noah North did Deadpool in the Deadpool game, and like Noah North was like the big one, and then Troy Baker was kind of working his way up, and then I think Troy Baker had that double whammy of Bioshock Infinite where he was Booker and The Last of Us where he was Joel, like that back to back. I think they came out in the same year, so it was just it would be like releasing two huge movies, and being the main guy in each of them, and in the same year. I guess it's the equivalent for video games. Like they were two of the biggest games of that 2013, I think it was. So 10 years ago. I'd say that's
wow.
really like where he kind of and then since then he's just been the kind of go to. Like
He's got 396 credits to his name.
he works a lot, man. Aye,
Wow.
got to respect that hustle.
Fuck.
Good on him.
That's some
Aye,
LinkedIn profile.
and as much as to be honest with you, I don't know if it's controversial. I'm not a big fan of Troy Baker as a guy. I think he seems a wee bit pretentious and a wee bit up himself. But
Really?
I also think he's incredibly talented, and I don't think there's any other actor that could have portrayed the characters he's played as well as him. Like I do think, even though
Many
he's a bit of
diverse
a douche,
characters.
I feel like he's kind of earned it. Like he played Joe in Last of Us. Do you know what I mean? You can get and do what you want after that. Like I don't know. He just seems a bit. The first time I noticed that I was watching it was not long after the first Last of Us. I think it was like a couple of years after it. They were at E3, him and the girl that plays Ellie, Ashley Johnson, and the two of them were doing a panel, and he kept talking over her, Like she was giving answers and he kept interrupting
Really?
and talking over her and being like, "Yeah, but this is what really happened," and then just being a pure arrogant, obnoxious dick. And I'm like, oh, I don't like you. And since then, I've always just had a wee bit of a chip my shoulder about him, but he's talented and he does a lot, so good on him, I suppose. Aye.
I mean, aye. Like he's got a range of diverse voices. Like half the time now, I've kind of used to his voice that I could maybe
Yeah.
try and dissect it and say, "Oh, that sounds like Troy Baker." You know, if I didn't know that was him in it.
Aye.
You know,
Well, I mean,
he's
and Metal Hellsinger, I think he's just doing his own voice. So, like, he's probably playing up the southern thing, I think, 'cause I don't know where he's from, but I don't think he's that southern. Whereas in this game, he's talking like a cowboy. Do you know what I mean? He's like, the
oh
unknown's
right.
going into the next circle of hell. Like, he's pure playing it up. So, I think it's kind of like, but right away, I was like, that's Troy Baker. Do you know what I mean? Like, there was no question. I was like, that's his voice. But, aye, he's good. Anyway,
He's doing well. Doing well.
aye, before we move on to topic, just last thing, I did see a couple of movies this week. Me and Courtney have recorded an episode of For Your Consideration where we go into the guts of these movies and kind of describe them one by one. But the one that I wanted to talk about, I'll quickly touch the four that we've seen.
Yeah, aye. Fire first.
We've seen See How They Run, which is a whodunit with Sam Rockwell and Saoirse Ronan in it. We saw Bodies, 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 which is another whodunit, more modern day, bunch of rich teenagers get left in a big mansion, and one of them is killing the rest of them one by one. You have to work out who it is. I saw 3,000 Years of Longing, which was George Miller's new movie with Idris Elba and Tilda Swinton.
Yep. Mhm.
And that was interesting. I feel like it could have been madder. It wasn't really, that one wasn't crazy enough for me. The trailers made out to be absolutely buzz out madness. The movie, like all the kind of mad scenes are in the trailer, and in the movie they're very spread out. So it's like half an hour passes, and then something crazy happens, and another half an hour passes. Whereas I thought it'd be like Everything Everywhere All at Once, where it would just be mad shit happening constantly. It's not really that, but it's good. It's all right. Bodies, Bodies, Boys, and what was the fourth one we seen? The Forgiven. No, The Forgiven, which was actually a real interesting film with Jessica Chastain and Ralph Fiennes, and more kind of slow burn film where he gets they're millionaires, so this rich couple, they get invited to this big fancy mansion.
Yeah.
I might have spoken about this last week, but I don't think the episode. I'm sure it was an episode we didn't put up. They get invited to this big fancy mansion, and they accidentally kill a boy, a local boy, and they have to sort of deal with the consequences of that, and that was really good too. But out of the four, the one I would recommend would be See How They Run. See How They Run was one of those films that I'd sort of decided I'd made my mind up before I seen it. I was like, this is going to be a mediocre, kind of quirky Wes Anderson light type movie, and it is. I mean, it does draw influence from. It draws influence from like Agatha Christie. It's a bit like Knives Out, and it's a bit like Murder in the Orient Express, but it's more so like Grand Budapest Hotel. You know, like a kind of Wes Anderson joint. But it's great. It was even better than I thought it would be. Sam Rockwell and Saoirse Ronan as the two lead detectives, their chemistry is brilliant. I already said this on For Our Consideration, but for me, Saoirse Ronan's always been one of the actors that everybody kind of bangs on about her, and she's been Oscar nominated, and people kind of love this actress, and I'm kind of like, I don't get it. Like, I like her enough, but I've never seen anything that's blown me away. And this movie, she was hilarious, man. Like, I was sore for laughing just at her character afterwards. Like, she's doing it in her own Irish accent.
I was going to say, I've seen the trailer. She's actually from.
And see just some of the one-liners she's got, man. Like, I was buckled, man. She's hilarious in this movie. She steals it. Like, and that's what I was saying as well, and that's what I was saying on the other podcast. It's not easy to steal a scene for Sam Rockwell. Like, he's such a big comedic actor that it's hard to kind of top that. And she's the star of the film, I would say, and See How They Run. But everybody's good at it. Adrian Brody's in it too. He's great. He's an absolute pretentious arsehole. He's the director of the movie that they're making.
He always is.
And he's obnoxious, but he does it well. He's really good in it. And the whole cast are great. David DeLeo is great, and so is I suppose everybody in it. So I would recommend. See, Other One's the one movie that kind of like surprised me, and I was like, I could watch that again the night. Like, I could rewatch that right away. It's just fun and it's funny. And even though it's one of the movies, even though it's a whodunit, you can pure see whodunit about halfway through. Like, it's not the twist is pure obvious, but it doesn't matter. See, because it's just a fun, dumb film,
you can forgive it.
It's like, it's kind of like because you've seen all the kind of old murder mysteries, and it's like But if the butler did it, it's always super obvious it was a butler. Like it's that sort of vibe. Like all the way through, there's this creepy kind of weird character, and see at the end, he's a killer.
You could
But
just sense it.
they kind of set that up at the start because Adrian Brody narrates it, and at the start of the movie, because he's the director, he's like, they brought me in to do this whodunit movie. I hate whodunit movies. Once you've seen one, you've seen them all. I mean, every time the most obnoxious character gets killed first, and then in this, obviously, Adrian Brody gets killed first. So he's like, every time the most obnoxious character gets killed first, and then they throw a red herring in and they try and make you think it was another character when it obviously wasn't them. And about halfway through this movie, they try and make it as if Sam Rockwell was the killer, even though it's obviously not him. And then he's like, and then at the end, it turns out it was a quiet douchebag that's been hanging about in the background all along. And that's exactly what happens in the movie. So the fact that they sort of like know what they're doing beforehand, they're like, do you know what? It was really good.
You
Really
know the
good film.
but like Sam Rockwell, man, like I wasn't really a fan of him, but see since like I always thought he was kind of the small. I don't know why I thought this, but I just didn't. I didn't really glue to him.
Yeah.
But see when I started watching like Seven Psychopaths, The Three Billboards, I rewatched The Green Mile to see how like mental he was in it.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, I've really underestimated this guy. Like he's not just a wee side guy that's an arsehole. Like he always likes playing those characters, but it's a lot deeper. And I'm like, fuck, he's fucking good, man.
I think Sam Rockwell was one of my favourite actors. Like working, I think he's incredible.
He's definitely went up there. Like
I was really glad to see him get. Although the Oscars don't really mean anything, I was glad that he won for Three Billboards because I feel like he's been not recognised and quite underrated for a lot of years. He's as you said, he's incredible in The Green Mile. He's amazing, and there's a movie called Moon. I don't know if you've seen Moon.
And that's the one with Kevin's busy, you know. But
Kevin Spacey's a robot. Yeah, he's not actually in it, but he voices a robot, so you can kind of get past it.
That's enough. That's enough, man.
But it was directed by David Bowie's son. What's his name? Duncan Jones. And it's all set on the moon. Sam Rockwell's on a sort of solo mission up there on a space station, and he's incredible in it. Like it's basically just a one-man show with Sam Rockwell, and he's amazing. So there's Moon, there's Three Billboards, Seven Psychopaths. I love him in Seven Psychopaths. He's brilliant.
He's such a massive fucking cast, and he stands out, man.
He's so.
You've got Woody Harrelson.
I know, and yet you remember him. I know. Jojo Rabbit. I loved him in Jojo Rabbit as he was kind of.
I've not seen that one.
Nazi. Jojo Rabbit's really good. He's an amazing actor. He done a movie called Mr. Right a few years ago, where he was an assassin and he had to protect Anna Kendrick. That was really good too. I watched like Entities and he's a phenomenal actor. But I'll stop gushing about Sam Rockwell. But See How They Run's a really good movie. If you get the chance to see that, either on the website, on the internet, or in the cinema.
You would recommend that over the other three?
I would recommend out of again go and listen to it for a consideration because I'll go into why. But out of the four, I would say See How They Run and The Forgiven are incredible. Well, not incredible, but just really good, unique experiences that I think you should see. 3,000 Years Along is good, but it could have been weirder. I think if they'd went weirder with it, it would have been better. And Bodies was good, but they should have went full-on goofy teen horror. Like, it should have been like Scream. And they try to make it a bit serious and a bit artsy at certain points. And it's like, just, you're a dumb horror movie, just be a dumb horror movie. Yeah. Like, just, do you know what I mean? They try and do a bit of, I don't know, deep soul searching, and you're like, just be a dumb horror movie. Like, anyway. Finally, at long last, let's move on to
an hour and a half.
We've teased you for 90 minutes, but let's get into it.
I did not realise that was we could talk to each other.
We can talk a lot of shit. Right. We've really talked about that shit. Right, so if you've been living under a rock, one of the most anticipated games of all time has been leaked this week.
GTA
Grand Theft Auto 6. Videos started appearing online, images started appearing online, and a lot of people were like, is this legit? It looks legit. Like, it doesn't look great, but it looks like that engine. And then it was basically yesterday, Jason Schreier, who's a pretty reputable video game journalist, he put up a tweet saying that he was on paternity leave this week. He just had a baby, but he was
congratulations.
Pretty proper things. Pretty proper things saying, "See, the 1 week I take off is the week that this happens." Like one of the biggest leaks in gaming ever.
Oh, fuck.
And
Yeah.
then he was like, "I can." After a few days of like checking with his sources and rewatching the footage and whatever, he can confirm that it was real.
Wow.
But even then, he doesn't work for Rockstar. The real confirmation came today, the day we were recording, Monday the 19th. They put up a message. Rockstar Games put up a message basically saying that. I'll read the message. A message
Aye.
from Rockstar Games. We recently suffered a network intrusion in which an unauthorized third party illegally accessed and downloaded confidential information from our systems, including early development footage for the next Grand Theft Auto. At this time, we do not anticipate any disruption for our live game services, nor any long term effect on the development of our ongoing projects. We're extremely disappointed to have any details of our next game shared with all of you this way. Our work on the next Grand Theft Auto game will continue as planned, and we remain committed as ever to delivering an experience to you, our players, which truly exceeds your expectations. We will update everyone soon. And of course, we'll properly introduce you to this next game when it's ready. We want to thank everyone for their ongoing support throughout this situation, the Rockstar Games team. What is notable about this? Rockstar never make a statement.
No, they
Rockstar are
do
like the
not say anything.
quietest, more they,
Yeah.
they don't say anything publicly like this. So the fact that they came out
They're
and put that
pissed.
statement out is a big deal.
Mm.
Like they don't even go to E3. Like they're above all that. They put a game out and people buy it. That's basically
That's it.
Rockstar's relationship with their audience.
There's a traditional game.
So the
Don't need
fact
anything.
the fact that they've come out and said this, it's a big deal. I
They're pissed,
that
man.
the guy that leaked it, or woman, the person that leaked it, must be absolutely crapping their pants, man.
They've disconnected. They've moved.
They're going to have all
They've
sorts
removed
of.
their
They're going to get sued
IP.
to high heaven, man. It's going to be
Oh
crazy.
man.
So yes, there was. If the video is still live, I feel like so on the day, I think it was yesterday or the day before, the video came out on YouTube and it showed a female character with a male character looked like they were robbing a diner. It reminded me of the scene in Pulp
Pulp
Fiction.
Fiction.
Yeah, totally. I mean, GTA always takes from like other stuff,
Other
so that's probably what they were
sources.
going for. So basically she robs this diner, then the police come and then she drives away, and that's basically it. There's been another clip leaked where it's the same character, but I think she's in like a nightclub, and then there's been a bunch of images leaked as well. Since then, there's also been actual details of like the story and stuff that's leaked. So I'll go through them.
Oh right, I've not seen it. I go through them. I've not really seen
So
it.
the first one states that there will be a female protagonist in the game called Lucia, and the male partner is called Jason, and they will be like a Bonnie and Clyde type, like a couple that commit crime together.
Wow.
The setting is Vice City. We're going back to Vice City in the present day, so 2022 Vice City. The Malibu Club, which was a club from the original Vice City, is returning.
Wow.
That is something that everybody's been wanting, as either a Vice City remake or a Vice City. The way that GTA 5 went back to Los Santos, people have been wanting to go back to Vice City. So the fact that GTA 6 is going back there's a big deal.
Aye.
The leaked footage is reportedly years old at this point and will not reflect the final product whatsoever. So that's what you were saying, Chris. You were saying this looked more like GTA 5 than anything else.
Aye, like just like it
That's
looked. So that's like very beta. Like that's
yeah,
like
that's the
them
impression.
talking about
I
the
mean,
idea.
looking at the footage, you can tell it's not finished. Like at certain points, she points her gun at a guy behind the counter, and he's like this bald guy, and
Aye,
he puts
it's
his hand up,
basically
and he's got
complete.
like no
Yeah.
features. He's clearly not a finished character. Like he's basically just polygons. Like he's not even like he doesn't look real. He doesn't even get a texture on his skin. I don't think so. Like stuff like that, that it's also a very base model. But it
Yeah.
was the point that I really felt like it was like kind of dated GTA 5 looking. See when she got into the car and it came up at the bottom police cruiser, and the way the police were kind of, you could tell the AI wasn't finished because she was running in between the police cars and the police could clearly shoot her and they weren't. They were just like
Aye.
shooting everybody, and I was like, "This isn't." You could tell this isn't finished. And then she got in the car, and then again with the driving, see when she crashed the car, it just looked a bit fake.
It looked a bit iffy. Yeah.
Aye. So I think that's because I think this footage that we're seeing, I genuinely think it's probably from not that long after GTA 5 came out.
Yeah.
I think this is like 5 years old. Like GTA 5 came out 10 years ago or 9 years ago. This footage is probably about 5 years old, I think. So that makes a lot of sense to me. That lines up.
See, to be honest, they've probably took the GTA 5 engine and said, right, okay, let's build a story. Let's build something on that. This works. Let's work with it and build a concept, and then we can update graphics, cars. Because that's one thing I was disappointed in when I watched this. I was like, all the cars look the same.
Yeah.
Usually if it is in Vice City, it
Aye.
should be
There'd
more
be like
like
Cadillacs
spontaneous
and
and
like all these kind of
flashy and all that
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
And I was like, oh, it just looks like you're down Los Santos a wee bit. So
Aye, I know what you mean.
that's when I just
Well,
got a wee
the
bit
next 3
impatient.
points might kind of like quell that because apparently the cars in particular they will have detailed interiors. There'll be like loads of detail when you go into first person, which I assume they'll put in this game because they put that in GTA 5 when it relaunched. When you go into first person in a car, you'll be able to see like all the wee dials, indicator, the gauge, the speedometer, all that stuff. And then you will also have like animations for in the car, so like, you'll probably see them like turn the key for the engine and changing gear and shit. Um, there will also be like random small robberies that happen, just on the by and by, like cash and grabs and hit and runs and stuff. And those small robberies will be full of detail. NPCs will react to everything that's going on, and
Right.
if you're seen in a car, even if you like get away for your wanted level, the cops will remember your vehicle model and plate. So if you don't change your plates or get your car sprayed, even if it's like days later and they see you, they'll like go after you and
Wow.
stuff. So
That's kind of good for continuity. That is kind
yeah,
of good.
so like there does there's a lot of detail that's sort of coming into it. I also think the character models clearly aren't finished. Like, see if you look at screenshots of like the female character, she looks super like PS3 in my opinion.
Yeah,
Like she
yeah.
doesn't. I wouldn't even say she looks PS4. The one thing that I think looks quite current gen, the clothes look pretty good that she's wearing. There's
Yeah,
one
the
shot she's wearing
fabric.
like a black thing, and the fabric looks good, and the shadows, the lighting looks good, in a lot of the shots.
But see
With
even
the
see
shadows and
even
stuff.
like see even like the streets and stuff, it just looks. I think it's because it's in the daytime. I think when I in Vice City, I always remember it being night and the neon
Hmm.
lights and stuff. And
Hmm.
that. Maybe
Yeah, yeah.
that's why I'm getting turned off by its
I
brightness.
genuinely just think it's because this is an old build. I think what you're seeing is like
Probably
it's for
is.
the game like 5 years ago, and I just think they've just no updated it.
I wonder why they're that pissed. Then they might have just said, "But this is no build. Who gives a shit?" Do you think it's because somebody's leaked it from them? I think that might be.
I think it's the day with Pride a bit. See, there's a part of me that's kind of like feel sorry for them because as somebody that's into like creating stuff myself and I would hate to have something like before you're ready to show it. Like there's nothing more
Mm.
embarrassing that if you're halfway like with you with your graphic design, if you're halfway through a design and I was
Oh
to
yeah,
log into your email and steal it and post it on Facebook, you'd be raging because it's
aye,
not
because it's not
finished.
finished.
Like
Aye,
so I totally understand that, right? But you've waited. I feel like they've took too long. I think they should have said
aye.
something or showed something, and I think people are getting
Even a
fed up
peak,
and getting
even a peak.
sick of not seeing anything. And I think this is what happens if you don't show anything, and you know that people want this thing. Eventually, people will go in and find it themselves. And I think
Just
that's what's happened here.
think about it. It's been 10. It's maybe 9 years, 10
Yeah,
years. So
like
it's like
see when you think about it, we've not heard anything from Rockstar since Red Dead 2. Like that's the last
wow.
time they've really
That's
publicly said. Okay, they've probably put like updates for GTA Online, like they've probably put like blog posts. But see, in terms of like actual like hearing from the studio, we've not properly heard from them since Red Dead Two, which is like what 5 years ago now. It's like
2018. Like even
4 years
that, like
ago. Aye.
4 years ago, like, even that, like even Red Dead. I don't know if I'm romanticizing it, but even Red Dead, there wasn't any kind of notice. There might have been a trailer or one or two.
Red Dead, actually remember it quite clearly. Red Dead, they put up. It was so when did Red Dead come out? It was like the August of one year, right? Probably like
October,
2018.
October.
Oh, it was October. So like seeing like the March of that year, like in March, they changed their Twitter logo from the yellow Rockstar to like the red, like the kind of red faded
Red
one.
and black. Yeah.
And then they put up that see that image that's I think on the game where it's like the sunsets behind them and you can see the seven characters all standing
Hmm.
like Dutch's gang. You can see the seven characters and it's just like silhouettes of each of them. I remember they put that image up on Facebook and they didn't say anything. They just put up they changed their Twitter account and then they put that and then online like, all the speculation starts with like who's that? That's John Marston, right? Who's the guy next to him? That's Dutch, and people were like, trying to tell you like who each character was in the gang and stuff. And it was a good way of doing it because it built hype without having to like they
But they're
didn't
doing
have to spend
much.
any money like marketing. They just put up two images and it generated itself. So aye, and then I think after that, like a couple of months after, they officially announced it was coming out and stuff, and they put out their release date and shit. So I
Because that's
assume that's what
one.
they were planning to do with this, but they've just took too long to do it.
Because that's one thing with Rockstar games. I remember even being when GTA 4 came out. I remember being not even watching a trailer or anything, like that, but you just know it from the ether that
Yeah, yeah.
GTA 4 is coming out. And I went into like HMV and the guy said, "You're you're too young to buy this, and I had to send my dad to buy it.
Right.
So, but like it's like I think they've got a generation like us
Uh-huh.
that just know they're quality games. When they come out, I'm buying it.
Yeah.
They've
But
got that
I
buy-in.
think I think a big part of that though, like what you were saying before about sort of just knowing an ether. I think when you were in, I think a lot of it's for school. See, when you were in
Probably
school,
is.
everybody played GTA, everybody spoke about it, and everybody like. Do you remember there used to be all the rumors about like Bigfoot being in GTA San Andreas and stuff, and you used to pure spend hours looking for Bigfoot and stuff.
Search for it. Aye.
Like there was all this stuff that GTA has always had this pure word of mouth thing to it. That it's
Yeah.
like somebody told me it's even happening with Red Dead. It even happened with Red Dead 2. There was a thing that see how Red Dead Revolver, which was the one on
Mhm.
PS2, the
Yes.
character on that Red Harlow. Apparently, if you went to a certain part of the map at a certain time, you can see like Red Harlow sitting by a campfire, and you can like speak to him and stuff. It wasn't actually in the game. I think what was actually in the game is you speak to a drifter, and he does tell a story. He's like, "Oh, I used to know a guy, Red Harlow," and he like tells you about this guy from the first game, but the
Mhm.
guy himself's not actually in it. But
Yeah.
the fact that like that sort of shit still happened in 2020 or 2018, whenever Red Dead 2 came out, like that's impressive that you can still sort of have that kind of like conversation going on in your game.
I mean,
But I don't know. I just think they've left it too long. I think it's their own fault. Like I
they
do
have.
feel sorry for them, but I
They
also
have.
think, you know what, you should have put something out. Even if they just said, here's just a logo, like a
The
photo,
logo,
a
just the
screenshot,
logo, to
or
say we're
just
working on
something
it.
like that. Just I even just see if they just put up a like a. I keep saying this, like there's only certain things that can get away with this. Like Star Wars could have done it before Force Awakens. See if they just put up, don't even put a trailer out. Just put up a trailer that's just got the San Andreas theme or like the Vice City theme, and just the literal the words GTA 6 Vice, like whatever you're going to call it, like Vice City or whatever, and then everybody will buy it. Like
Everybody
they
pipe.
don't
Aye.
need anything
That's
else.
it.
And
That's all you need to do.
it was the
That's
same
all
with the
you need
Force
to do.
Awakens. See if they hadn't even put a trailer out and they just put up a thing just with the da 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 and just had Star Wars and Force Awakens, everybody would go and see it. Like there's certain things like GTA and that are just that ubiquitously popular that you don't even need to like market it.
It's
Um,
because it is like that. Like the fan base speculate on anything. So if you do a
mhm.
wee small thing, they'll be like, "Oh, what does that mean?" If
Aye,
the six is neon, they don't even need to put like Vice City. That they'll go, "That's Vice City," and then that will build
and
conversation.
I also think it kind
You
of speaks
just
to the perils of like modern marketing though, because like I know that a lot of the shit around like we were talking about No Way Home earlier, and a lot of
Mhm.
the hype from that didn't even come from like Sony or Marvel themselves. It came
No.
from like new rock stars on YouTube putting up speculation videos or that heavy spoilers guy. Like it came from folk like that just doing like speculation videos, and that's what got people hyped because it was like, oh, is Tobey Maguire going to turn up? Is this person going to be in it? Like that's kind of what started all the hype and that's good, obviously, because as a company, you're not spending any money and you're having someone basically advertise your movie for free. But I think you need to give people are going to have the conversation regardless of whether you put a trailer out or not.
Yeah.
People are going to have the conversation. So see if you don't give them anything like to go on, they'll go in and they'll leak something like this. Like see if they'd given us, as you said, even just a logo, just something to go on. There would be 100 YouTube videos, more than that probably,
And
made
that's the
speaking
marketing.
about it, and then that they would be fine for like a year because you just let people talk about that for like a year, and then you put out another like tease, and then like that's what they need to do. They don't need to like I don't know. It's just they need to give us something, and I think that's what's
But
happening.
see,
People are so
I
starved
think
for
a lot of people were
content
probably disappointed as hell with the fact that they just kept squeezing that GTA 5 and squeezing it,
online thing.
re-releasing,
Yeah,
re-releasing it. It
yep.
went on PS3 and then it went on PS4 and then it went on PS5, Xbox. It went on
PC.
PC.
Yeah,
It's just like, oh
Switch.
great,
It's on Switch now. I feel like it probably is at this
probably
point.
fucking is.
Aye, it's
But
probably
like
in a Samsung
it's
fridge. You can probably download it for your fridge,
oh,
mate.
it's
Like,
probably
it's
on your fucking
mental.
iPhone. It's probably on iStore. Like it's like Google
Aye, it
Play.
wouldn't
It's
surprise me.
probably, but like it's like you had 10 years of making billions. It was the most successful fucking game,
Aye,
right?
ever. Aye,
There's ever there's going to be eyes on you as soon as you give a developer, even a game tester, a wee
yeah,
touch of that.
yeah,
He's obviously going to say, if I get this, I could make a wee bit of money. Maybe people clicking on my
yeah,
article or something. They're going to do it. And this I just love the fact that on their Twitter it says a message from Rockstar Games,
yeah. I know.
and
This is a pure.
it's black and like
Aye,
it's just
is this
like
somebody's died?
it's
Like,
like we are raging.
This is some serious shit, boys. Aye.
I mean, I'm surprised. I'm hope like see even at the end of the day, there's probably people like that upset. They'll find the guy or the gal that leaked the thing.
He'll get publicly chased down by an angry mob and
Oh,
lynched.
how bad would that be? Like, imagine like you're the game, like a game company you loved, sends you like a notice of to get a court to.
Yeah, like a
that
subpoena.
would be
Yeah.
that would be so bad.
And
Oh man,
that's the
but
thing, when
yeah,
you're up against Rockstar, you know that you can't afford to beat them
can't
in
afford to
court.
do it.
Like, you better as well
No.
just take the punishment, because
What do you think? What do you think the punishment would be for that? Do you think that's a big thing?
I
Do you
think
think
it was
do you
just
think they would fling the whole book? Or
it. It depends where this came from. I think this is maybe just me being. I'm just theorising, right? I don't know
it's all
anything.
speculation. So
I presume that this has came from someone within the development process, whether it's a programmer, whether it's a QA tester, whether it's maybe just somebody that is in marketing that's been sent this just as an example for because maybe they were going to announce, maybe that's why they're so pissed. Maybe they were going to announce
I'm
it in
gonna
a couple of weeks'
something.
time, and this was sent out to give people an idea of like how to market it. It could be something as simple as that. I think it's came from somewhere like that. If it's came from somewhere like that, then there will be a contract signed at some point. Because as soon as you go into a company, you need to sign an NDA form, which basically means you legally cannot talk about this thing until it's been
It's
officially announced.
published. Yeah.
Like I've had to sign one for every game website I've ever written for, and they're like small websites. Do you know what I mean? This is like a huge multinational company, so
Mm,
the contracts will have been like written by the top lawyers and all that. You need to sign it to say that you legally
you
agree not to
understand
speak
what's
about
going on.
this.
Yeah.
So if it's been a tester or anybody involved in the process and they've signed one of those contracts, then I would assume that Rockstar can probably sue them for millions, like for what do you call it? Not slander, but like whatever, like I don't know, exposure before it was ready, like some sort of like they'll be
I
able
was
to
going to
sue them
say
for millions.
exploitation, but I don't think that's right. Do you know? See, when you were talking and you were saying maybe it's in the development team. That I could potentially like say maybe this is all a ploy. Maybe they are using this as marketing. Maybe no, but
Right? No,
there could be
I've
a wee
seen
itch.
I've seen that theory. I have seen that theory over the last couple of days on Reddit and Facebook and stuff. The part that makes me doubt that though is that it's Rockstar. I just don't think they're the sort of
Yeah,
company
they're
to do
very
that.
silent.
I
Yeah.
think if it was another company, then you could be like, aye, it's probably like some, you could say like, oh, it's like, aye, they've looked at themselves or whatever for hype.
Ubisoft. Aye.
Aye, but
They need it with the 4 games they're
I
pulling
don't
out.
think. Well, like you said, like about, I know you're joking there, but Rockstar don't need that. They don't need to do
Yeah,
that.
they
So
don't need
that's why
that.
I think, unless it was a company that felt like they had to do it, I don't think they would do that. So I don't think it is in this case. But I
Plus,
don't
it's a Scottish company. We are arseholes if you steal stuff for us. So
know. They're still out for Scotsman. That's the lesson in
no,
it.
you can imagine. I mean, we basically made we like fucking like we're part of it, but like the Scottish guys made the most violent game about stealing people's shit, and
Aye.
then they get stolen. Ironic.
Well, I
Oh
think
man.
I think that's the interesting thing to see is like how they bounce back for this, because I think another company would kind of like come out publicly and like speak about it at an event or something, whereas Rockstar don't really do that. They don't really, well, in fact, they don't do that. They never do that. Like they don't have like a representative that they send to like E3. They don't do
Yeah,
that
they
the way
don't.
that
They don't.
Ubisoft and that do. So how do you address this? Like other than that blanket statement, like is that all they're going to put out now? Like I don't know. It's weird.
I think it's like it's too like now they need to. I would say to get ahead of it, you would need to officially say we're working on it. I know we know. I
Well,
don't
they
think that
have.
has that. Have they
That
actually said that? As
Well,
I
that
know
was
that.
interesting. That was an interesting part of that statement, actually. So, Thingy, what's his name? We mentioned him earlier. Neil Druckmann, the Last of Us guy, he put up a big thing about support because Last of Us 2 got leaked. Before it came out, there was certain details of that leaked. I think it was spoilers. I think it was Joel's death that got leaked. There was something to do with Last of Us 2 anyway that kind of like got leaked prior to the game coming out. So Neil Druckmann put up a message of support saying, like, I know how it feels when something like that gets leaked for something you've worked really hard on. Stay strong. Please don't change what your game's going to be, because see in like 5 years' time, nobody will care because everybody will have your game, and then that will just be like a forgotten footnote on a Wikipedia page. Which I'm not a big Neil Druckmann fan because of what he done to The Last of Us, but I do agree with that sentiment. Like he's right, I think, with that. The statement from Rockstar does read, "Our work on the next Grand Theft Auto game will continue as planned, and we remain as committed as ever to delivering this experience to you." So they're not letting this change. They're not letting this change their sort of course.
I mean,
What
you wouldn't though. You wouldn't.
what I
And it's
think, I think how I would address it if I was them, I'd put something in the game as like a reference to it, and make a joke about it and as an
make a
Easter egg in the
mission.
game.
Put a
I make a
mission.
mission. I where like somebody's getting something stolen while it's unfinished, and then you have to like hunt the guy down and kill him. Like that would be that is how you
Hunt
do
him
it.
down and kill him.
Aye. That's how, and then just make him a pure like
Do you know what?
pissy pants nerd, like just a pure sad actor character. Like
Do you know what it could be? It could be the most annoying mission, and it's a callback to the fucking construction site helicopter.
oh,
They go,
don't
"You bastards leaked this. You have to play. You have to play
don't
to this
don't
mission."
put us all through that just because one arsehole leaked it. That's no fair.
You're chasing like they stole it from the helicopter in these rooms, so it's a wee helicopter that steals something, and then you need to chase that helicopter through loops and all that.
Aye.
Oh, that would be awful. Fuck. Well, it is it is Vice City, so that
Mhm.
could be potentially a mission in there. So
What now that we've kind of went through the whole leak, what do you think? Like now that you know that this version, I know that you keep saying that this doesn't look great, but this version isn't the final version. Has this changed your excitement for GTA 6? Are you still going to you still look forward to
no,
a trailer and stuff?
you're still. I'm not even thinking they'll send a trailer. I'm still excited if they just put up a logo and play like Michael Jackson's Billie Jean. You know, like
I would buy it.
I would be like,
I'd buy it.
That's I'm sold because it's GTA, man. Like
Aye.
it's a new kind of experience. I'm guessing I like the whole Bonnie and Clyde situation. I'm guessing one question I was going to say, see if it's based on Vice City.
Uh-huh.
Do you think they might expand the map a little bit, make it a
I
bit
do.
thicker,
Totally.
or because
I
it's
think
really small?
I think you're saying a little bit. I think it will be like I think the original Vice City will be in this game. I think it'll be a small section of the map. Like
It'll be
the
like
way
Dubai. It'll be like Dubai in like 1980. Like that was the original map, and
aye,
then now it's like just expanded.
aye. I think it'll be similar to how like in GTA 5 you could go to Grove Street where San Andreas took place, and it was this tiny like wee part of the map.
Aye.
And GTA 5 was so I think it'll be the same thing. I think it'll the original Vice City, the nightclub and all that, and the police station and stuff.
And
It'll
the
all
strip
be
thing,
there,
yeah.
but it'll just be like a pure tiny section of like this big map. Aye, 100%.
Oh man,
That's the
I
thing
hope
I'm
so.
most hyped about is that we're going back to Vice City because that was my favourite GTA game.
It was great.
I love San Andreas and I like 4 and 5 and 3, but Vice City was my favourite. So the fact that we're going back there,
Do you
I'm
think
buzzing.
it will include the same kind of? Because I think I was in the period of gangster movies at that point.
Mhm,
So I was in the mood of like the 1980s gangsters, like Goodfellas. It
mhm.
even has the same actor that plays
Yeah,
Tommy
really.
Vercetti. Aye, rest in
R.I.P.
peace. Aye. We
I
both
got.
done that at the same time. We must be sad at the Vice City. But even if they have, oh, I lost my track thought there. But see, even if they have that feel, I know they're saying the Bonnie and Clyde situation, but if they
Mhm.
still have that gangster-esque feel, I don't know, the 80s gangster, but it's cheesy, or do you think it's
Well,
going to be more cutthroat, like it's
the
more modern?
the original, I think it'll be more modern, but I think the original leak before this stated that because when we first found out about the leak and the Bonnie and Clyde thing and all that and playing as a female character, I wrote an article. I like this below as well. I wrote an article about how it was when it came out that you were playing as a Mexican female for some of this game. People were saying, "Oh, GTA's gone woke," and I basically wrote a piece saying like, "Aye, the game where you can kill prostitutes and police officers is woke, no bother."
It's woke.
So I like that below, and you can read my rant about how that's such a dumb thing to say. But besides that, when that original leak came out, it stated that this Mexican female character that you can see, or I don't know if she's Mexican, Hispanic female character that you can see in this footage, she's one small
Two.
protagonist of one of like I think 5 or 4. Like it's going to
Oh,
be kind of like in GTA 5 you played the 3 characters.
you could see,
I
yeah.
think you're playing as 4 or maybe 5 in this game because I think you're playing as this couple. You play as both the male and the female, and then I think they're like one of like 3 different stories that's been told. I think there's like different stories that are going on. And I don't know if in the other one you're playing is like maybe 2 partners. I don't know if they're cops or they're criminals or what they are, but it's like it'll be like different stories that are happening that you'll jump between each time and stuff. And I think like GTA 5, like when you cut to Trevor and he's like passed out drunk and he wakes up on train tracks naked and he's like, how'd I get here? And it'll be that kind of thing, but it'll obviously not be like Trevor because it was Trevor. It'll be kind of the type of thing where you'll wake up, I don't know, or you're not necessarily wake up, but you'll just cut to him and then it'll be like maybe these two could be in the middle of robbing a diner or something, and you'll just kind of need to go into it and play that as they
or getting arrested.
Aye, I'm sort of just, or maybe it would be quite interesting. I've always thought it would be quite interesting to play as a police officer in a GTA game.
Yes, I was going to bring that up.
Even if you were like a dirty cop that was like a gangster and a cop, or if you were like undercover, you were like a cop but you were working with a gang, like something like that could be cool.
I mean that's
There's lots of
I am
options, but-
guilty. I am guilty in the sense of when I play GTA, if I get bored, I'm the guy like follows the rules of the road.
Stop the traffic lights and all that.
Drop all the traffic lights, yeah. And then I do the missions with the police officers and stuff. So I think that there's definitely room for that.
Aye.
Like if you play like the cold dirty cop situation, especially if you're going in the gangsters Goodfellas vibe, it's like there always is a dirty cop in those gangster movies.
Well, that would be one of the other. That's what they could do. They could do this. Also, these two like kind of robbing couple. That could be one of the stories. Then they could do like the dirty cop thing, and then they could also just have you playing as like a straight up gangster. Like, was it Lance Vance? Was the black guy with the white suit in the original one? You could play as like his grandson. Do you know what I mean? And he could be like the new pimp in Vice City. Like just something like that. You could throw in to like tie it back to the old game, or I don't know. Aye,
well, they
I
better
think
have the mansion there. They've have the mansion as a
they need to have
house
it. They need to have it.
with a helicopter at the top.
Aye, it was like Tony Montana's mansion for Scarface. They might have it, but it's like abandoned or something probably. But I'm sure it'll be in it.
Oh, imagine that! Imagine it was abandoned and you had to build up, and that was like
your
house.
You could like buy it or whatever.
Because that's one point I was going to say to you. Are you happy? Do you think, from your perspective, do you think 5 characters is fucking hell? Cam doing here, boy.
I'm just guessing 5. I think the original just said multiple characters. I don't think it said. I don't think it said a number. I think it said multiple characters. And then the speculation. The reason I'm saying 5, I'm sure after that somebody said online that it will be more than what's in GTA 5, so it'll be more than 3 basically. So
wow.
I'm okay with it, to be honest. I think that although I would like to see another GTA game at some point just focus on the one character, I think the fact that GTA 5 was the first one to focus on like more than one character, or to play as more than one character, I think it would be weird if they just done one game like that and then went back to just a single character. I don't know. What I would like to see Rockstar do, I'd like to see them doing their main GTA games like this, where you're playing as like 5 different characters, and then also do like they used to do GTA 3, and then they would do like San Andreas and Vice City, and then they do GTA 4, and then they would do, was it Liberty City Stories, where you're playing as a biker gang and stuff.
We get
like
Tony and the lost stuff.
I miss all that shit. I want them today, like give us your big game where you're playing as like 5 characters, and then give us a wee story, even if it's just DLC, like only lasts like 5 hours or something, and it's just you're playing as one character for like that kind of game, if you like, that mission in the world. I miss that. I would much rather that than GTA Online, because I don't give a shit about GTA Online, but that's what they seem to care about now, because I think that makes them more money. So I don't see them doing single player DLC again, to be honest. Because like, remember Red Dead Undead Nightmare, the one with the zombies? That was
brilliant,
dynamite. And they never did that for Red Dead 2, and it's like, oh man, it's just so good. But I just think Rockstar don't care anymore, because they're getting their money for their online shit, so they just.
I think they're going to be. Do you think it's going to be the same aspect of? Do you think this is they've hit the ceiling, or do you think they're going to go even bigger in the whole cash elements? Because this was This is the biggest game in history. I know Red Dead didn't really meet that aspect. It did win a bunch of awards and stuff, but do you think they're kind of shitting themselves in case we need to up our game for this year? We need to add 5 characters. We need to add 2 more characters onto our roster to even beat the kind of baseline that they've created for themselves on like franchise thing. Do you think that has affected them? I know that that's the kind of theme of this fucking podcast. We're like,
possibly right. I got pressure for the outside. I probably do agree with you, and there obviously is a lot of pressure going into GTA 6, but I also think these games get planned so far in advance, and also they take so long to make. Like we're talking 10 years at a time. See, by the time they make GTA 7, it's going to be on the PS6, even if there is a PS6. Like it'll be on whatever the next console is. So I think to plan it that far in advance is probably not the way they do it. I think I think as soon as there's a GTA game out, they probably start work on the next one, which is probably what we are seeing in this leaked footage. I think they probably start work right away, and then they establish like what they want to do with the game, like story wise, and then they just keep working on the tech until it's finished. That would be my guess, and then that's how the tech, obviously, the graphics get better, the AI gets better, blah blah blah, until they're ready to release it.
Oh, the AI was brutal in this fucking GTA 5 with the police. Oh my god, I never like went in my whole radical shooting up police anymore because like
Did
they'd
you
kill
know?
you.
You
Usually,
need you need to
in
play the
like
mods.
GTA 5, you
Play
just
it in
ran
PC,
away.
man. Play it in PC and
Oh
get
yeah.
the mods. That's fun.
Oh, like I even remember like the cheat code thing. I couldn't keep up. Like the guys just come in and shoot you, and you're like, "What the fuck, Cap?" Like you know. Oh, but
That's what they should do. There's my one request for GTA 6. Put
cheats.
in cheat codes. Be able to spawn a tank or spawn a helicopter or whatever.
Definitely in Vice City when the green tank.
Bring that
Remember the
shit
big green
back. I
tank?
mean, I know they sort of done it in GTA 5. There was certain cheats you could do, but they were shit. They weren't like, there
Yeah.
was nothing that exciting. Like, be able to spawn like a jet and just fly about in a jet and blow stuff up. Like, bring stuff like that back. Just make it a dumb sandbox for people to just have fun.
They've kind of made it a little bit too serious, didn't they? Like with GTA
Aye.
4, it was dead see it was story based,
Yeah,
and the cheats were like you couldn't get achievements if you
that's
don't put
right.
cheats
I
on.
don't mind that. I don't mind them taking
And
achievements away. That's fine.
oh, I'm an achievement hunter
I love
by
I
heart.
love trophies. Don't get me wrong. I love my trophies too. But if you're going on GTA to mess about with a tank, then I'm no.
Ah,
Do you know what I mean? Like,
no.
as long as you can like turn a sheet off and then do the achievement, then that's fine. Like I don't need to cheat to get the achievement. I get why they do that, why they don't let you do that. But yeah.
But it kind of, I was going to go on a rant of it should just be one solo character. But see, to be honest, it's kind of you were kind of alluding to this in the one element of like they would have 5 characters in the GTA, and then they do a Red Dead, and
Mhm.
you're just a Zarther.
Aye.
Technically, maybe 2,
A
but
bit
like,
of John. Yeah,
a
whatever.
bit of John maybe. But like it's like that's a solo move. That's a solo movie. That's a solo
So
game. It felt like a movie. But like I'm more than happy now to jump on
so
that
what?
train.
No, but why did you initially think that you only want one character?
I
Just
just
because
think
that's
that
how the old games were.
it was kind of like I just never felt I played. It's kind of the same problem with Arkham Knight I'm having. I would allude to one character and I feel that I'm missing out on either. See, I loved Michael
Hmm.
in the GTA 5. I
Me
used to
too.
always play him because I was like, oh, he's like my version of what I want to be when I'm older, rich and
Mm.
just doesn't give a shit. Like that's what, and then like I either just went to Trevor to like go mental, or I
Hmm.
went to Franklin to like kind of drive cool cars, and I
Mm.
just never really experienced the story. I played through the story and just like 4 or 5 times to like just do it from Trevor's perspective,
Uh-huh.
and just to see what it's like. But I just feel that I need to go through that multiple times to enjoy. I'm not the kind of person that can jump hop. I like to sit with them and I don't know, build rapport. Oh, that sounds so weird.
No, but
Like,
I don't even know you get kind of invested in a character. But what I think's interesting about Rockstar games is that you can have a totally different experience with someone else,
yeah,
especially the first time you're
personality.
playing it. Like Red Dead 2 had that, and again, that was one of the first games in years. I remember playing Red Dead 2 and then texting like Andy or whatever, like, here, have you found this shack that's like in this part of the map and it's got these two like dead bodies in it and there's a note and then it tells you to go to somewhere else and then you get a fancy rifle or a fancy like
Yes.
crossbow or something like see stuff like that you just had to like tell your pals about because it was like kind of just you just found it in the game. I love that stuff and Rockstar games are some of the only games I think that still have that in it. So I hope they've
Mm.
got that in this GTA game. Like I hope that it's not like day one it comes out, everything's on YouTube, like all the cheats and all the missions
Oh
and all
yeah.
the like you want to play it for yourself and kind of like just experience it, discover it for the first time and stumble across random shit that's like I don't know.
That's what Red Dead I think done so well. Like even like you were just running into like a cabin, thinking
Aye.
you found something, and a bear jumps out as soon as you try and run
Aye.
out.
You
Like,
find
and
like a
that's
dad
something.
pointing the gun at his son, and you'd be like, "What's going on in here?" And you just have
You're
to
like,
like deal
whoa,
with it.
let's go.
Aye.
Do you think that's something because it was like an open world element of there's not cars, it's not modernized, it's like grass and a horse, and you just sit over a hill? Do you think that like there's that element to it, or do you think I'm just that's
No, I
no?
do, because I think that there's more kind of like mystery, I guess, that era, because it's, it's the old days and they didn't have like smartphones and stuff. But
Mm.
I think in GTA 5 though they did do an element of that with the big mountain. There was like all the mad alien drones that you could find at the top of the mountain and stuff, which
Yeah.
never really meant anything. But the fact that they put that in, I was like, do you know what? That's a wee bit of
Uh,
mystery. So I hope they do something like that, like do a wee kind of Easter egg that you can kind of like.
do you know? I've not really put much thought in this, but is the Red Dead? I know they have Rockstar North and Rockstar
San Diego, and
San Diego.
they've got one in Asia now, I think.
Who's working on like
Vietnam, is it?
is the Red Dead team working on GTA 5 or is it not GTA 6 or are they a different team? Like they're not story wise or
I'm
anything like
not sure. I think at the minute, well, obviously at the minute they'll probably be working on GTA 6, but I
that.
think after Red Dead 2 came out, also they were working on updates and stuff and patches and stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of the work in between, like, see if they're not working on GTA 6, or if they weren't working on Red Dead 2 before that came out, I think they're just doing GTA Online stuff. I think that's what a lot
Yeah.
of their staff gets allocated to now, which is kind of shite, because who cares?
No.
Like, I would much rather use those staff, because they're obviously good programmers and good animators and stuff. Use them to make a separate game, like a Vice City type spin off, like instead of just doing GTA Online. But I don't know. Like I said, I think they do make a shit ton of money off GTA Online, and like I know we're slagging them earlier for releasing it on every console and all that. But see, if it didn't
You would.
sell every time, they wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
They do it because they make money. Like
It is
people
shocking
buy
that
it for PS5.
is
Like
it's
it still
shocking
makes
that
money.
people actually went down a console and re-release it in PS3 and stuff. I don't know if they
Aye,
closed it. I don't know if they did. I know they were saying they were closing servers. It might have been the PS3 servers that were closing or the Xbox 360 ones. But
aye.
I remember like it shows you the power it has. I
Mm.
mean, even me, I'm the fucking idiot. I bought it on 360 and then I bought it on Xbox One and then I bought it on PC. I'm a
Right.
fucking that's 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 the sad element of it.
Do you know
So
what? I've no, well, that's a lie. I've got it on 3 platforms, but I've only bought it on 2. I bought it in PS3 when it came out, and then I bought it in PS4, and then on PC it was free for a while. See, when I just built my PC, I think it was free on Epic Games, so I got it for free
really,
for PC.
oh you
So
lucky bugger!
aye, so but technically you're right though. I own it for 3 platforms. I own it for PS3, PS4, and PC. So
And did you complete the story in all those platforms?
I completed the story on PS3, obviously, more than once. I completed the story at least once in PS4. And then on PC, I put the mods on and I was playing it with mods. And then something happened. Like, I think the mods were in a weird folder that was connected to like an external hard drive that got disconnected and it got corrupted or something. So basically, now the mods are all corrupted, so I can't play it on
Play
PC
that
unless I
through.
delete all the mods. So I've not done it yet, but I'm kind of annoyed because I'm like, either I need to go in and like manually repair all the mods one by one and download them again and all that, or I need to delete them all and play the game normally, which is like if I played half it flying about like a superhero, and then the second half I need to play it normal, it's going to be like that's shite. So
It's going to be
I
quite
swear I've
a.
just not went back to it because the mods are all broke. But
I mean, it's one of those games that I am going to be playing. I remember playing. I feel like a complete arsehole saying this, but like I remember playing when it first playing it like PS. It was the PC. It was the one that was you were looking from above, and I didn't even know what it was, and we just grabbed it out of a PC game. I was like probably 7 or maybe 5 or something like that. And we're just like playing it, and we're like just knocking down people. Me and my sister. I remember playing it on a like white PC at the time. But like it's tiny. I think it was a tiny PC.
right.
That company. But yeah, I remember playing that, and I've never been. It was from there, and then when I actually realised when they made GTA 3, I was like,
Mhm.
wow, this is a massive jump
Oh,
from
GTA 3 was
like.
revolutionary at the time. Like
Aye.
GTA 3 was the first open world crime sandbox game. Like when you think of
Did it
everything
look
else that,
shite?
aye. Well, now it does, but at the
Oh
time
yeah,
it
no.
didn't. But I mean, we think about everything that spawned for that, like Yakuza and Sleeping Dogs, and that. Remember the True Crime games on PS2, True
Yeah,
Crime
yeah,
Streets
yeah.
of LA, and like so many like have just tried to to emulate that. Saints Row, like
Oh,
it's
thank God,
mental.
Saints
Like
Row.
GTA 3 started it all of that came from GTA 3, so that's crazy.
Think about it. A lot of companies when they have jobs.
Aye,
GTA 3
that's true.
instead.
And whoever leaked this thing isn't going to have a job for long if they get caught. So we'll see what
They're
happens.
going to be. I really hope they hire him and and if he done something, whoever leaked it and it was something amazing, how they were able to get the footage.
Aye, if it's
Wonderful.
somebody external, I think they should do that. I think they should do that. If it's somebody
Aye.
external, they should hire them.
Do
If it's
you
somebody
strongly
internal, then
believe?
they're getting sued. But
Do you strongly believe that it would be somebody internal? Do you think it would be? They would just get the
if
full
I had to put
footage?
money on it, I would bet it was somebody for the inside. But the statement does make it sound like it's somebody external, to be fair, because the statement reads that someone. What is it again? I've just made it go away. But it basically reads that someone hacked into their systems.
Aye, they said
We
hack.
recently suffered a network intrusion in which an unauthorized third party illegally accessed and downloaded confidential
The
information.
third
So,
party.
third party part does make it sound external, but technically, a third party just means not the fans and not the company. Like, really, that could be anyone else. So, technically,
Yeah.
an employee is still a third party. So, I don't know. It's no, I don't know. The statement makes it sound like it's external, but I think that's because they're trying to distance themselves from the blame. Like, oh, it's not our fault it leaked.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? I think that's the impression I get for the statement. But like I said, they've got good lawyers. They'll see that statement that will have been reworded about a million times before it get put
Yeah.
out. So,
Line by line, word for
aye,
word.
there was pure thought about what they were putting in that statement. So, especially
Especially
because
if
they never
they
do
never
that.
speak. Aye,
Aye.
they're probably like, we don't know how to speak.
What
Like,
do we,
like
we need? You need us to speak
what,
to fans? Like what? No, we don't
no,
do
we don't
that.
do that.
We just put out games every 10 years, and no one. That's it.
No, but
People buy it. Like
we put a
what?
trailer with just the name and music, black screen.
Aye. But
Oh,
what I wonder, I don't think it will. But what I wonder is, will this make them hurry up with their trailer? Like, see now this is came out. Will they then turn around and be like, right, let's just put a trailer out, or let's just put a date out or something?
it could damage. They could be thinking, or people think this. Like my reaction was like this looks shite. They could be playing on that, saying, well, the majority of people are saying that this looks awful. Like
We need to put out what it
we need to
actually looks like
confirm,
to get people hyped.
get screenshots or something.
Aye.
We don't need to announce what the thing we're like the story or anything like that. Just get screenshots or something so people are all right that
What
they will be buying.
in situations like this, what I normally wonder is there more footage? Like usually when something like this gets leaked, this is like the tip of the iceberg, and the person that leaked it's actually got all these other files that are maybe like blackmailing them. They're like holding these other files, and they're like, right, give us money, or I'm going to put out. Maybe they've got a trailer that they're going to like drop online. Like
Really?
I don't know. Sometimes I think that, but I also think in this situation, if you know that it's Rockstar that you're like messing with, I would probably just put it all out and run. Like I
Aye,
wouldn't waste time being like, here, I'm going to release this if you don't do this. Like I would just drop it and go. Like, do
well,
you know what I
because
mean?
you're
But I don't know.
announcing yourself. You're announcing yourself
Mm-hmm.
if you do it that way. So yeah, I mean, maybe you never know. They might be dropping stuff. See, that's the sad thing. People would be doing that like viciously. You know,
Oh, aye.
they would be like, oh, well, fuck you. Maybe it's a
Well,
disgruntled employee. Maybe.
I was just going to say that. It absolutely could be. Like it's happened before. Like 100%. That's happened before at other companies. So, aye, it could totally be an ex-employee that's been fired for whatever reason, or maybe they're pissed off with all the crunch that they're having to do. Maybe they're getting made to work crazy hours at the minute, like 14, 15-hour days. And they're like, do you know
I
what?
did hear that Rockstar have like released their culture to be more friendly and
Aye,
all that stuff. I was like, that's obviously something that's happened.
they've
Like
had to do. Yeah,
they've had to do that. So it's like maybe it
yeah,
is because
could be.
like that's quite scary. Like Danny was applying to fucking Rockstar.
Hmm.
Imagine working like at a job that you're a company you really admired, and then realize that you're working
You're a
24
slave, basically.
hours.
Aye.
Aye, you've got no talking about creative control. You've probably got nothing if
No,
you're
you just do what you're told. Aye,
yeah.
100%.
Like how I don't
Yeah,
want to think
mental
about it now.
schedule. I
People
know.
people say don't meet your heroes and stuff. Imagine working at the company you've looked up
I
for
know.
years and then hate
I know. Honestly, that like there's certain things. Also, I did animation at uni, and there's certain things that I've heard about the game industry since then that I'm like, I'm kind of glad that I never got into that because it sounds pretty
it. Brutal.
dark. Some of it. Aye. You hear about all this stuff at Activision and all this stuff at aye.
What happened? What's happened at that?
Oh, well, they've still got their sexual harassment lawsuit that's been going on
Of
for
course.
years
Fucking hell,
at this
yes.
point.
Jesus.
But I don't know. There's a lot of sleazy stuff that goes on behind the scenes. But anyway,
Anyway.
on that note, we should probably call it a night because it's
going on 11
near my
o'clock.
bedtime. Yes, thanks for
Oh.
listening to us rant for over 2 hours about
2 hours.
pop culture and the GTA leaks. If you've got something to say about the GTA leaks, let us know in the comments. Let us know if you think.
Is it pop or shock? Oh.
It's back again. So last week, for context, the episode that never went out, Chrissy asked me at the end, is it pop or is it shock? And I had to answer. I wasn't sure what was the right one.
He wasn't what he answered.
Yeah, it's back again. It survived somehow. I was hoping he was going to forget about it. But
it's like COVID. It comes back.
Yeah, so let us know, is it pop or is it shock? Let us know.
Such bad face, yeah. Let us know if it's pop or shock.
Did the GTA 6 leak make you pop or did it make you shock?
Make you shock.
No, but in all seriousness, let us know what you think of the leaks. Let us know if you're going to still buy the game, if it's like affected your hype. What you think of leaks in general? Do you think they're good or bad, or do you care?
Different. Yeah.
And subscribe to the channel. Like I said earlier, for your consideration, will also be going up this week. So go and listen to that podcast, which is our side movie reviewing podcast. If you don't know about it, follow me on Twitter at danboyd95. I'm going to have articles coming out soon probably about Assassin's Creed, which we spoke about today. And yes, if you listen to us on if you listen to us on a podcatcher, leave a review in iTunes or Apple Music or Amazon or Spotify or wherever you're listening. Or give a thumbs up on YouTube and subscribe to the channel. And we'll see you next week to talk about other stuff. Jared, our friendly Irish neighbour,
Spider-Man.
he will be back. He will be back, I believe, next week, and he will give us all the details on how he met Hugh Jackman himself, Wolverine.
And he went to New York. How an Irishman got on a plane.
An Irishman in New York. That sounds like a rom-com for the mid-noughties, isn't it? An Irishman in New York.
That does.
Yeah, it's just a romantic story about him and Hugh Jackman. That'd be nice. I'd watch that. Anyway, I'm getting tired, clearly. All the best. See you next week.
See ya.
Cheers, Chris.